Okay, folks, we apologize for the delay. We had to get Jimmy Toscano wired, had to get me all set up. Jimmy was killing me here.
Okay.
Waiting on it. Listen, we know what happened here. The Patriots are going back to the Super Bowl. Everybody watched it. Thank you guys for waiting and hanging out here as we get started with the show. 10-7, just slop fest against the Denver Broncos.
Ugly.
Ugly, who cares?
But we love ugly. We fucking love ugly.
Yeah, we're gonna have we have Taylor Kyles, Mike Kadlick, Greg Bedard, all in Denver right now. Once that trophy gets,
Something happened.
I'm not doing that. Not touching it. I've touched nothing. Speak. Can't hear you. Keep going, Jimmy.
I'm not muting myself, so something's happening.
Sorry, I don't know what happened. Misfire. Greg Bedard, Taylor Kyles, Mike Kadlick will all be joining us from Denver. We're going to be hanging out here for quite a bit as the Patriots advance to the Super Bowl. They're going to play either the Rams or the Seahawks. It doesn't freaking matter who they play. It doesn't matter. I'm going to tell you this. Here's my PSA to Patriots fans for the next 2 weeks. Everyone's going to say you suck. Everyone's going to talk about how Drake Maye's been awful these playoffs. Everyone's going to talk about how it's a fraudulent team. None of it matters. The Patriots were not supposed to be here, and they're here, not just here, they're there. They're going to the Super Bowl. So is CLNS Media. We'll be out there en masse.
Absolutely.
We're going to bring you coverage for a full week. And it starts now. It starts now.
And I'm coming.
And Jimmy's coming. Let's go. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Nothing. Okay. It's just a time to sit here and Jimmy, just do this.
To do this, John. Because they came and they played and they worked, and that's all that matters.
Jimmy, make the Pats hard hats. This was a lunch pail win. Okay. So let's get into some of it. And again, we're going to hear from some of those guys on the podium here. Yeah. Did Drake Maye have a good game? No. Does anything that happened in the second half matter? Not really.
A couple things, but not much.
A couple things. And there are some critical points in this game. I'm going to tell you right now, Jimmy, what lost this game?
I want to say one thing real quick, John, before we get into it. Is anybody better than us? Is anybody better than us? I mean, honestly, like the more things change, the more things stay the same. I mean this seriously. I don't even think Patriots fans really had enough time away to even appreciate this. Like we needed more time away from this stuff, but hey, the NFL's the NFL, the Patriots are the Patriots. We're so effing back. I just can't stand it. I was in the building for the AFC for the game last week against the Texans, and those fans sent the Patriots off in the most Patriots-esque style way you could ever imagine. This Patriots team was fired up. Somehow, even though they were favorites, John, everybody around the nation was picking the Broncos in this one. The disrespect coming from all over the place was unbelievable. And you're right, John. It's only going to get louder. The disrespect is only going to get louder the next 2 weeks, but we don't freaking care because at the end of the day, we're the Patriots and you're not, and nothing else matters. And we're back. We're just so back. But anyways, let's go.
Sorry, haters. As Jimmy said after the 2024, bye haters. 2024.
Hi
and bye, haters.
And again, here. It's not that hard. Why is every other team such a problem getting to this game?
What's wrong with you guys? It's not. It really isn't that hard. Like
you just draft the quarterback, and then you just win the games, and then you just go to the Super Bowl.
And while we're sitting here and we're gloating and we're taking our victory lap here, as you know, this is a birthright, of New England fans. The rest of the world is upset, Jimmy. They're really upset. I've got this tweet here. Somebody put out there. This is, the Patriots are back in the Super Bowl. Such a perfect chef's kiss for our current health.
Welcome to hell, Jerry. Population, you and the rest of the country. But over here in New England, it's actually pretty cold right now. It's just another New England day. It's snowing like crazy. And the Patriots are going to the Super Bowl. So ho hum, here we are. We're doing this all over again. The next 2 weeks are going to be freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
It's going to be awesome. And so that's what we've got. So yeah, the rest of the world's upset. We're going to sit here. Jimmy and I are, and again, I want to point out, people here are looking for hard-hitting football analysis. Jimmy and I bring vibes. Okay.
Yeah,
We'll
guys,
talk about some football. We'll talk about football stuff coming up for sure. Because there was definitely a game like this, everything was important, right? Almost every single decision, even the smallest things, like taking a good sack was a really good play in the second half of this game. I've never seen, weather flip from like sunny and Tweety birds and sunshine to this. It was stressful. You know what it is? This was like playoff baseball. This was 2003 Red Sox Yankees. Every 1-0 pitch matters because 2-0 is a hitter's count.
This felt like a baseball game. This felt like a playoff baseball game. You're so right.
Matters. It was like mid 2000 Red Sox vibes of like every snap, just a football.
Every yard actually mattered in this game because there were only like 32 of them in the fourth quarter, I think, total. I can't get over this game. It was so drunk. It was so crazy. It was so sloppy. And the one thing that stood out, a few things stood out to me, but I want to go talk about this fourth quarter because it was so unique. It felt like it was like Army versus Navy out there for a minute, honestly. And the Patriots were lucky that they were up 3 because they had the opportunity or the benefit of saying, yeah, we're not going to throw in this. We're not even going to try. We're going to run it. And as long as we don't fumble it, we're fine with that. We'll run the clock as best we can. If we get -1 yards, which by the way, we did on one drive, we're still cool with punting that. As soon as an offense decided to play against that snow, the game was over. And that's exactly what Denver did. Stidham dropped back and he went from stud back to stid with that pick. And that was the game. So as soon as the offense had to play like a real offense, that was going to be the end of it. If the Patriots tried to do that, I wouldn't be surprised if Denver made a pick too, because that's just the weather was just such a factor in this game. And it did come out of nowhere. I actually have a buddy who lives in Boulder and he texted me. He goes, it just started snowing here like crazy out of nowhere. And it's heading to Denver. And then sure enough, like 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, it just starts. And that graphic they showed on TV, John, was wild. The way that the field changed from the first quarter to that fourth quarter. Even the third quarter to the fourth quarter. That's Colorado for you. It's hard enough to play there with the altitude, but then throw in that weather and that snow. And it just felt like it caught everybody off guard. Everybody on both sides, players, coaches, fans, I'm sure were wondering what the hell was going on out there. But this was an ugly. I love that, playoff baseball comparison, John, because it really were hanging on every yard, really. Every drive, every play was so important. And when Stidham threw that ball, you could just tell how impossible it was to complete a pass in that way. The thing just hung.
It was so easy. And who I feel the worst for right now, and I'm going to put this one up on here, Buffalo fans. Because, and again, I don't want to gloat because Buffalo.
Shout out to my buddy Johnny watching right now.
I like the Bills in during the Patriots downtime, the Cam Newton years, the last Belichick years, the Mayo year. I liked the Bills. I was rooting for them every single year. And I was hoping for a Patriots-Bills conference championship because I think it would have been a ton of fun. Imagine if this game was in Foxborough, different
Bills
story,
are the nice guy.
Crap. I love the Bills, but
guy.
Boy, you have to feel like crap right now. The window, like how is Drake Maye going to a Super Bowl before Josh Allen? And again, with this team, this is messy. So let's get into some of the stuff from the game itself. And again, I'm going to give you my take here.
We know.
My take. I think a lot of people will say the same thing. Hubris cost Sean Payton this game.
I know what you're going to talk about.
It was all based on one thing, fool's gold, one completion to Christian Gonzalez, who may or may not have gotten beat, maybe was looking for over-the-top help, unclear. But that opened up this feeling that Jarrett Stidham's going to be okay. And a little bit of hubris set in where, I'm just going to Sean Payton this guy to a bunch of touchdown drives and everything's going to be fine.
Right.
And we all know what happened. That the critical turning point in that game was, and again, I predicted Patriots in a blowout because I thought the offense would get going and Stidham would hand them the ball a couple of times. I really did. And I thought it was going to be a Houston type of game where they were just going to befuddle him and eventually it was going to wear him down. Sure, the defense is going to be tough. That's fine. but not taking the points there at the when they had a chance in the second quarter to go up 10-0.
Oh, that was a dagger. What did I text you?
Running a stupid play with Stidham on a bootleg. And I'm sorry, he's not mobile. Every single time there's a teeny bit of pressure, he pooped his pants. He didn't just run. He ran like weirdly backwards while holding the ball with two hands and like not sure what he was going to do with it. He was a freaking mess. He was a freaking mess.
The way he
two-handed the ball twice today.
Once, but twice. He threw it like your 4-year-old kid.
That's like how my 3-year-old who grabs a football exactly for the first time ever tries to pass it to daddy. Okay, that's what Jarrett Stidham was doing. No, honey, you throw it like that. It doesn't matter. Yeah. You just throw it back.
Good job. Good job, Jarrett.
so that hubris cost him. And again, the Patriots going in at 7-7. If they don't do that, and Stidham doesn't crap himself there and turn it over late, and the Patriots don't get that short field touchdown, they don't score all game. I mean, this was a really, really, really difficult game.
Greedy.
Here. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. I mean, and in Payton's defense, I don't think he saw like a Mount Everest type storm rolling in the way it did. And maybe he thought to get some more opportunities the way it started for them with Stidham going deep. But listen, he caught Gonzalez, caught the Pats defense with their pants down on that one, right? They came out firing. I don't think anyone expected that from the start. I'll give him credit for that. But he had nothing left. They had nothing else after that. And you could tell that that fourth down stop, John, that flipped the momentum. Anybody watching saw what had just happened. You gave the Patriots defense that life that they needed again. You gave them that little bit of swagger back. You flipped the script. And then Stidham, obviously, with that costly turnover. And thank God, I will say this, by the way. How many freaking times do the refs have to be told, the officials have to be told, swallow your effing whistle on a live ball? It costs you absolutely nothing to not blow the whistle and rule the play dead. But yet we do this every year with these guys. So thank God the Patriots figured out May ran that one in for 7, because that's what I would have led this show with, is that another officiating gaffe by Goodell and company.
I'm calling a timeout. I'm calling a 20-second timeout on the guys beefing in the chat. Guys,
who's beefing?
Super Bowl, okay? Just people. Just come on. Guys, pull it together. Super Bowl.
Okay. Guys, relax. Come on. Let's have fun here. Super Bowl. Remember?
Everybody chill. Both of you guys, I'm not picking sides. It's messing up the flow. I'm gonna kick both of you. Just chill. Anyway, getting back to it. So yes, that was a huge play. Everybody chill. Everybody chill.
Guys. We're all getting a little stir crazy.
And then when the second half flipped, and again, I'm on this text thread with like a bunch of emotional, Pats fans, and every single thing you're freaking out over. Did you feel at any point threatened by the Denver offense, Jimmy, in that second half? Because again, as soon as you could see it in the play calling too. After that fumble, Payton lost all faith in Stidham. And they couldn't get anything going really in the run game either. The chances of them, if Bryce Behringer was any other person with a right leg, this game there would have been no chance. The only reason Denver ever had a chance to get into scoring position is because the Patriots punter was brutal. But there's no way that they were going to be able to.
Yeah, he needed gloves
with those conditions or whatever it was going on there. I thought it was brutally bad all game long. And again, I don't know what would have happened. That's the thing. It's going to be hard to analyze the second half. Like anybody looking for like takeaways here from the Patriots and looking at the stats and this and that. I don't know. I thought the Patriots were going to heat up a little bit in the second half, if not for the weather. I definitely felt that Stidham and the Broncos were not. But I do wonder, Jimmy, if I ask you this, if the weather stays the same, how does that second half go? Because it's really hard I don't know who would messed up more.
If the weather stays the same, I'd like to think the Patriots would have started to figure it out a little bit. I mean, that offensive line had another rough show, but again, I don't know if some of that's weather related. I'm sure like the guys that are going to come in after this are going to break it all down way better than I could. I'm taking the Patriots offense over the Broncos offense any day of the week with Stidham under center. And again, that first throw aside, I think Patriots regrouped after that. And I think they did have the momentum. I would have loved if they could have kicked that field goal at halftime, but that was an unbelievable, 64 yards. So I didn't expect that one to go, but I think Denver was praying after that first 7 points they got. I was just concerned only about Denver's D-line against the Patriots offensive line. That to me was the only thing I thought that was going to prevent New England from winning this game, because give me the Patriots defense up against Broncos defense too. You know what I mean? It's just, defenses carried New England to the Super Bowl. All three of these playoff games have been won on defense. That isn't to say Drake Maye's been horrible. He hasn't been. He's been fine. Drake Maye's been fine. And last week he had 3 touchdown passes, but if you watch the whole game, he still made a couple costly turnovers. And I thought the defense really, really, really carried them. And sure, Stroud stinks too, and Stidham stinks, and we know all the things that people are going to say. That Patriots defense is solid. They are just straight up solid. Great coverage. I love their tackling. I just think that they have that hard-nosed. This felt like their style of game. This is the way the Patriots have been winning games recently. Just grinding it out, ugly, big stops when you need them. And, that's kind of where I was at with it. So I wasn't super confident in Denver's offense, John. I wasn't confident in it at all to start the game. And I was flabbergasted by that pass that Stidham threw to start the game there. But I wasn't necessarily concerned. I was almost certain that Stidham was good for a couple turnovers at some point in this game. And sure enough, he was.
Yeah. So okay.
That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Giving you an update here from our crew in the field, because we are going to bring in a cast of characters as the show rolls on from Denver, and we will start hearing from some of the Patriots who are, as you know, headed to the Super Bowl. Unfreaking believable that they did this. The situations have cleared on the field. Everybody's heading into their post-game locker rooms. Our guys are setting up their live shots in about 10-15 minutes. We will probably hear from some of those guys. Before we do, couple shout out to our sponsors here on the Garden Report, and give it to me here. Prizepicks, of course, you guys know. Number one daily fantasy sports app in all of North America. You know what to do here. Pick more, pick less. It's that time of year, right? Get in on the action here with Prizepicks. Absolutely, best fantasy sports app on the market right now. If you do like to play, pick more, pick less.
Hope you went less tonight.
2 to 6, yeah, less on everything. 2 to 6 player stat projections. It's all you need to do on the Prizepicks app, and you know the deal by now. When you download that Prizepicks app and you put in the code CLNS, you get 50 inserted into your account as soon as you play 5. You don't even have to win. That's just what you do. 50 in 50
be like
50 in your account, just like that. And the big game is always here. No better way to cash in. We call it the big game here on Prizepicks, Jimmy.
I know, I heard that.
That's what we call it. Again,
that's what it is.
You can find a community on Prizepicks.
We'll be there.
You have, early payouts, you know that deal. Someone gets off to a hot start, option to cash out your winnings early if you want to. If you're not feeling it, you don't think you're going to hit all the way, you get free squares. So there's going to be a ton of promotions here, certainly heading into the Super Bowl. And again, you're missing your fantasy season. Yeah, Prizepicks is the best place to kind of pick it up here. Join the millions of users sign up for America's #1 sports pick app. And again, you see the code on the screen. CLNS gets you 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prizepicks.
You got some time to get this in.
It is good to be right
for the big game.
All right, time for the ugly stuff. Okay, and I want to hear from the fans as well. It's not the time, but we're going to hear about it all week long. I am curious whether people. And again, you're looking at possibly a murderer's row of defenses here that the Patriots and Drake Maye could face. We're not delusional, Jimmy, that everybody knows that the schedule wasn't great, wasn't difficult. We know that the Patriots benefited from it, but they also had the second highest scoring differential in the entire NFL. So again, you play the schedule in front of you, that's fine. How will you fare against better teams and better defenses? Well, they won the first 2 games fairly easily. The Chargers, again, banged up offensive line. Broncos as well. Houston as well. They're without Nico Collins. It is what it is. They had a crap offensive line. Patriots defense really teed off and carried them through those first couple of games. How would they go against Denver? Denver has a great O-line. Boom, they lose their starting quarterback. There's going to be some fraudulence talked about here, with the Patriots getting to this point. But I think people wouldn't feel nearly as bad as if Drake Maye looked more like regular season Drake Maye throughout the season, and he hasn't. Whether it's the defenses, whether it's fair, whether he's sped up, whether it's on him, there are shades of last season Drake Maye, early season, not great Drake Maye, guy who, runs himself into sacks, has his eyes down because he's a little worried, turned the ball over a ton. 0 turnovers today should make everybody happy. A single turnover would have certainly flipped the game. Missed
That's
open
where I was
receivers,
jump in.
threw it into the ground, threw the ball into the ground a couple of times when he had guys open, and that's before the elements kicked in. Definitely didn't look super comfortable, but this wasn't the nightmare I expected from the Denver defense in terms of the pass rush, just messing him all up. I think receivers were covered. I think Denver played more zone than people expected. I think they thought, Patriots thought they might see something a little bit different. He couldn't find people, and then he wasn't really able to do much with what he had. The few times he did have opportunities to make plays, he didn't really make them. He did make a couple. You have the flea flicker to Hollins. You had a couple of other big plays. If not for his legs, and again, I'm not going to downplay it, that saved his ass in this game. 10 carries, 65 yards rushing, but 86 passing yards, 10 of 21. Tough game for Drake Maye. Are you worried? Because again, if you face Seattle, that's going to be probably the 5th, the 3rd, the 2nd, and the 1st ranked defenses in the NFL that you're going to have to go through to win a Super Bowl.
Unreal. Good. I wouldn't want it any other way.
Are you worried about Drake Maye a little at all? That he hasn't, I think we know who the Patriots are, but I think people wanted to see him. I think people wanted to see him elevate, and he didn't. I don't think he deserves all the blame for what's gone on, but you definitely didn't see him take that leap, sure. Right? He didn't put his Josh Allen cape on. Again, Allen put up 30 on this defense last week. They've got a shit ton of offensive problems as well. So I don't know.
So I don't know if worry is the word, but I think it's just the unknown. I know this is a guy in his second year, not even a really full second year because he didn't get a full first year. And this is his first time through the playoffs. I think if we go back all the way to 0-1, John, the Patriots won that Super Bowl on the shoulders of their defenses too. And I think Tom Brady, second-year quarterback that year, there was a lot of doubt behind that Patriots team going through the playoffs. There's definitely some similarities here. I know that Patriots defense was considered an awesome defense at the time. And I'm not comparing the two teams in that sense, but there is some similarities.
Which one are you comparing to?
0-1.
Yeah, see, I do that. I'm doing the 18 comparisons.
Okay, 18.
More so.
It's just hard for me to compare 18. It's hard for me to compare 18 only because Brady was Brady and at that point in his career. And the comparison to 0-1 is that you've got a young quarterback, a young Patriots quarterback, second year, inexperienced in those big games, but continues to prove people wrong. Even when it's not pretty offensively, the defense kind of runs the show there. Now, the thing I loved, and you mentioned it, the thing I was looking for tonight was if Drake Maye was going to make a bad turnover, whether it was a fumble, whether it was a bad throw, interception. And thank God he didn't, because like you said, John, a single turnover tonight could have been the difference. It was the turnovers were the difference in this game. Stidham's turnover led to Patriots 7 points, and then his last turnover essentially ended the game. So I'll give Drake Maye the fact that he understood the situation, and I think he understood that, hey, our number one goal right now is to hold on to this damn ball. If we have to run it every single damn play in the fourth quarter, that's what we're going to do. If I have to take the sack, that's what I'm going to do. He didn't try to two-hand shove something backwards like Stidham did. So in that sense, I do think he kept his composure in a way. But if you're talking about, is this a highlight reel type game for Drake Maye? Absolutely not. And there have not been a lot of those. So if you want to be a little bit concerned in that sense, sure, because it's not going to get any easier. The Patriots will be underdogs going into the Super Bowl, regardless of who they play. And they're going to be playing a tough defense on that. Now, the difference is weather's not going to be a factor. Certainly not, the way it has been in the last couple of weeks here. It's been unbelievable. So I think you have to also consider those elements a little bit, John. When you look at last week's and you look at tonight's, I think that does throw those numbers off a little bit. And I think, there's some truth to that. But I'm still riding with Drake Maye. He got them this far. And I think that as of late, the Patriots defense has kind of carried that torch. But I still look back and I remember some of those throws that Maye's made this year. And I know that he's got a great thing going with his wide receivers, with Diggs. Him and Diggs are, I think, the most automatic percentage-wise combination in the league.
Yeah.
So that doesn't just go away. They have 2 weeks now. Vrabel and the whole crew have 2 weeks to figure out how they're going to become more effective again offensively, because they do need to be. They do.
So here's the again. If you decide who you're rooting for in Bailey, maybe we throw up a poll here. Who would you rather face? There's benefits to both. Well, the Rams allow you a defense that isn't as ferocious and scary, and it might not be as ugly an offensive game here. But I think they would break Sam Darnold's brain the same way that they've done all of the crap quarterbacks that they've played. Not point. Crap, Herbert.
If they played Darnold, though, fans might be like, see, you never played a good quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. Who cares at this point? Okay.
Theatrics-wise, though, Maye versus Stafford, kind of like the old guard
Stafford
versus the
better.
young. Yeah, much better. Yeah. It's a better story.
Maye versus Stafford is more entertaining for sure.
More entertaining. Patriots-Seahawks rematch is entertaining, but that Seahawks defense is very, very, very scary. I will say.
The other thing I want to talk about, Jimmy, is the amount of gaslighting that went on this week with Jarrett Stidham and what people tried to make him believe that he was.
Sean,
we
can't be fooled by it anymore. We can't be fooled by it anymore.
I cannot be. I've been in this. I've watched. I've been in this game, the content game, and I've watched this enough to understand when talking heads need content and they've got to figure out what to talk about.
How do we make this interesting?
How do we make it? Oh, Stidham could start a lot. New England actually wanted him as a backup. This guy, he can make all the throws.
If Stidham has a great game, he's no different than Maye.
He's sneaky athletic. I'm not super worried. Blah, blah, blah.
Meanwhile,
out of here.
Meanwhile, I've got more rushing yards on the year than he's got passing yards because I think his 3 plays all year were a couple of kneel downs. So John, this brings me back. I'm not going to talk Celtics, but I'm always going to go back to Celtics Mavericks. When everybody around the country, every talking head wanted to pretend that the Dallas Mavericks were going to beat the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals. And what did the Celtics do? They steamrolled them. It wasn't really much of a contest. It was actually embarrassing. But those people are never going to learn. They're going to continue to do that, and they're going to continue to be contrarians. What happened last week? Everybody picked the Texans. What did the Patriots do? They curb stomped them. Yeah. This week, I'm not going to say everybody picked the Broncos, but there was way too many people picking the Broncos to the point where that line shifted 2 whole points in the last few days here. And you had a lot of people on national television. And I think I want to say maybe it was Florio. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. He almost tried to make it seem like it was a good thing. It was like a good situation for Denver because they could actually rally around this. And the drop-off between Bo Nix and Jarrett Stidham wasn't big enough. So this was actually a good thing for Denver that they lost Bo Nix. And if it wasn't Florio, then I apologize, but it was somebody because I heard it on the radio. That's how ridiculous the commentary was going into this week. So I can only imagine what we're going to hear next.
Yeah, I'm not super worried because, again, I think the caliber of the teams coming out of the NFC are more complete. Like, look, I'm not a huge Darnold guy, but statistically, it's hard to argue that he had a really good season. That's a couple of years in a row that he's done that. He faded hard last year, but you look at his metrics, he's right. When you look at those pass charts that people love to throw around or tweet after every Patriots win, he's right up there in that upper right-hand corner along with Drake Maye with what he's done, his deep ball percentage, his accuracy, and all of those things. So Darnold had a good year. I'm not necessarily a believer.
He had a good year, but he also had some stinker. He went on a bad stretch, and I know this because he was my fantasy quarterback during that stretch, and he lost me many games. So he's not an every week guy, Darnold. He's just not. And talking about a big game situation, Darnold's just as new to this as Maye would be in that sense. So there is definitely an advantage Patriots on the offensive side if that ends up being the mattress. If you're
but the reason I made
how they play though.
The reason I made the 2018 comparisons is because, again, Brady was, late stages Brady. I mean, we thought, some people thought twilight of career. Obviously, there was more left in the tank, a lot more left in the tank. Mm-hmm. But
that I didn't think it was twilight.
You did not, Jimmy. You did not. I'm giving you
famously,
that one.
By the way.
Yeah. I mean, everybody knows it. But the passing offense wasn't explosive. You had Gronk, who basically bled out on the podium that week saying everything hurts and I don't want to play anymore, kind of hanging in there. I remember he took an early hit in the game. He looked like he was going to cry. Not that he's not one of the toughest dudes on the planet, but he was beat up. He wasn't the same guy. They didn't have the explosive weapons. Everybody's kind of on the downswing there, and they had to get it done with defense in their running game. And that's kind of what you've got now. And I don't think it's necessarily because it has nothing to do with the quarterback situation, is they don't have explosive playmakers on offense. I mean, Jesus, where's Hunter you can't get the tight ends going. Your backs are fine, but again, you don't have a dominant offensive line that can open holes here. There they started to lean on the run game a little bit later. Sony Michel had a huge playoffs. Ramondre's had his best stretch of work.
Running game's comparable
down the season here. So if they're going to win, they're going to win that way. This is going to be one of those games. That being said, would it be stunning if you had a 35-32 Super Bowl, between Maye and Stafford, and they're out there and they're slinging it and they're doing stuff? No, I wouldn't be shocked. Even within that run, you had that explosive game against KC, that went to overtime. That was in the 30s. One of the best games of all time. One of the best pound for pound games you'll ever see. So again, could they? Yeah, absolutely. But could this be a slop fest? Again, they scored a single touchdown in that Super Bowl win over the Rams. It's fine. You can win that way, and it can be ugly, and everyone will say it was an ugly Super Bowl and they were undeserving. But it's a Super Bowl nonetheless, and nobody particularly cares about that. Couple updates again, as everyone's wondering, what the hell is Jimmy Toscano doing here?
Even I'm asking myself that.
We call this in the business, a filibuster. Okay, we're filling a little time here until our because we're not going to leave you. We're not going to leave you out there wondering where's the fucking Pats post game.
I'm here to warm up the crowd. We're getting ready for the main band here coming.
He's one of those guys that on the Tonight Show when he goes out there and he whips up the audience into a frenzy.
Yeah. I'm a hype guy. I'm a total hype guy. I'm a vibes guy. We talked about this. So if you need either one of those two guys, give me a call. I'm usually hanging around.
But we've got some pictures coming from the field, which we're going to get up there as well. Those guys were out there for the. I got Ahmed out there. Like I said, I got the whole cast of characters. Harrison is out there on the field for us as well.
Harrison's out there. Let's go.
Yeah. And they're out there. They're going to feed us some stuff back. We're going to hear from Mike Vrabel momentarily as well. And again, as you guys know, the Patriots advancing to the Super Bowl, first one since 2019. It's like the 20th one in the last 20 years or something like that. I forget what the exact stats are, but they've been a lot. This is banana land, by the way, that they're here.
It is
banana land.
It really, really, really is. A year ago at this time, the organization was like rock bottom, legit. I mean, you had May, but you were kind of the laughing stock for the last few years, or the last couple of years. You kind of were the laughing stock of the league, and every football fan crying in their cereal bowls tonight, they were the same fans that were pointing and laughing a year ago and 2 years ago. Belichick's last year, how it ended, the Mayo season, how that ended, and rightfully. And by the way, they had every right to laugh, but it didn't last long, unfortunately for them. And fortunately for the Patriots, it's kind of like muscle memory, John. You start to win a few games, and you're like, wait a second, I remember how to do this. You draft a quarterback. Wait a second, I remember how to develop a quarterback. I remember what it was like to win. I remember what it was like to go on a little playoff run here. And here we are back in the Super Bowl. And you mentioned the Bills. Bills are like the nice guy. You feel bad for them. Like they're kind of harmless, but they mean well.
Yep.
I can't imagine what teams like the Raiders or just a perennial loser, those teams feel like, because they just can't figure it out. And the Patriots bottomed out and are now back in the Super Bowl in like 2 years.
Yeah. And again, it's not a guarantee that this is they're back, but this year they put it all together. It really is amazing.
And you've got a foundation. You got the coaching staff. You have a good solid, foundation here to keep. I'm not saying they're going to go to the Super Bowl every year now, but they're going to be in the mix. They're in the mix. Yep. All you can do is be in the mix in this league.
Seahawks already driving 50-yard play here. Again, we'll see where that one goes, but we're going to keep going on here. And as I said, we're going to kind of roll and fill a little bit. Mike Vrabel's on the podium now. We will hear from him in just a little bit as we kind of wait for our guys to set up on the field. And again, just to understand the timing of everything here, they do the trophy presentation, which means the post game press conferences get delayed some, which means takes longer to clear the field for those guys to get out there and get themselves set up. So right now, our reporters are reporting. They're doing what reporters do, but they will all jump on here, and we will get to hear from those guys in a little bit for sure. A couple other things I wanted to talk about game specific here. And again, there's a lot of vibes, but certainly there were, some pivotal moments in the game. here. And again, I'm going to ask you here. This is debates I was having, Jimmy. So I just want your
have a good debate.
Your take on it. Patriots again. They're lucky, very lucky to have come out of this with being tied at the half there at 7-7. They come in here. They get into that. Goal? Yeah, they get into that third quarter here, and again, you get Drake Maye, huge with the legs, 28-yarder, kind of gets them moving on that first possession. Mm-hmm. Pats get a sneak to go for it on that, when they're close, in the red zone there. They did not get it, but
that was wild. Not even a chain.
It was called the first down in the field. I thought that was a bit of a dubious decision there, though I kind of get it because I don't know if they were going to get down. That's really their only drive where they took the ball and went all the way down the field.
That was a wild drive. It was like
I don't think they felt that they were going to do that again. And they had the wind and they had, some momentum and the weather was starting to kick up. I guess I could kind of get at that point, potentially thinking 7 was the key here. They were pretty lucky to get that one there. And they ended up with the field goal, which ended up being that literally at first drive of the third quarter. That was the final score of the game. What was your thoughts on their idea to sneak it and just the way that whole thing went down?
It's tough for me. It's tough for me to comment on this because I bashed Sean Payton for going for it, but I think this was a different situation. This was later in the game. I think they had a little bit of a better read on how things were going, John, and I agreed with them. At that point, you knew this was going to be a low-scoring game, and if you could push it to 17-7 or whatever it would have been, what would it have been? 14-7. Sorry.
Yeah.
That would have been. I mean, we know it now would have been enough, but I think they saw enough from that Broncos offense to say, "Hey, we don't think Broncos are going to do what they did again, and if we can push it to 7 here, we might be good." So I didn't hate it. You should be able to get that.
Yeah.
I keep hearing about how everyone's so upset about the tush push because it's automatic. And then I see teams still figuring out ways to screw that up. So the Patriots honestly almost did screw that up, and maybe they did, but they called it a first down. I'm not going to sit here and second guess it. I like the aggressiveness. It's too bad they couldn't put it in for 7. I actually hated the play calling after that by McDaniels. It did the direct snap to
and that's another thing I wanted to talk about.
I hated that.
So there's a lot of, I thought McDaniels that's kind of the thing. I think Drake Maye put them in a tough position. Drake Maye put the ball on the ground through 2 games 6 times. And you knew against this defense that if you did this defense and a more functional offense, that you couldn't do that in this game. That was how you were going to lose this game. And I thought that they were so super concerned with that. They were just ultra conservative in that first half. I really didn't like the play calling. I think Payton was pantsing Vrabel up until that 4th down decision in that first half there. I really do. And McDaniels, I thought he was miles ahead of them in terms of where they were going. And as I said, my primary takeaway is I think Payton's hubris is what cost him the game there. They should have taken that score, gone up 10-0, and that really flipped momentum there. But I just got these in, so I'm going to put them on the screen because I know you guys like to see it. We do have some celebration videos from the field. If I can get them up there, look at these guys. Do you see them?
Oh yeah.
Look at these guys out there doing stuff.
It's frozen.
It is a little frozen. We're gonna remove that.
It's okay.
We'll put it up again.
We get the idea.
Yeah, we got the idea. You got the vibe. Bailey, send it to me if your computer's glitching out a little bit. But the in the second half there, and again, like I said, I think Payton really got nervous that Stidham wasn't going to be able to get things done. And I thought things flipped a ton there, but it really is incredible because that was a questionable call by Vrabel there to not take the points, and that almost cost them at 7-7. I don't know if anybody would have ever scored again.
Ever would still be watching it. Yeah. I think early in the game, John, you take the points. That's where I'm different with. That's why I don't feel as bad questioning Payton and not questioning Vrabel. Because if you were Sean Payton, you had that chance, quick 3 points, you're up 10. Why are you getting so cocky like that? But with Vrabel, he's just reading the situation at third quarter, kind of late in the third quarter, I think, at that point, because they went on like a 8-minute drive or whatever. It was at least halfway through the quarter at that point. And that was just his read on the game. And I wouldn't have been, there's no way Vrabel could have thought that Broncos wouldn't be able to march down and kick a field goal. I mean, that wasn't that crazy that wouldn't have been that crazy. In fact, they missed one that was fairly makeable in that game, John. So in that second half, not talking about the one in the second quarter.
Well, that was another one.
Half.
Is
right.
You've got a couple of misses here, and again, it was very fitting that such an ugly first half ended with two bad misses. You got Lutz missing one, pushing one wide right there, putting the Patriots in decent field position to get down the field. They didn't do a good job. Maye scrambles to get them in, attemptable range. Yeah, 63-yarder. There might have been enough leg there, but he shanked it. You could see that it was gone. That it was off right away. So you missed those two kicks.
63 and mile high is no joke.
You can hit that. You can hit that again. The weather hadn't really started there, and then Barringer just killed them in that second half. Punting the ball to the 33-yard line, and that still wasn't enough for Lutz to get a field goal off of that thing.
That was such a painful punt. Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah.
You're right. Special teams did not have a game that they're going to want to watch the film on later.
Yeah. What's funny is realistically, that's where things got really ugly.
I missed you, John. I didn't hear that part.
That's where it was getting tough.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying Barringer was getting killed for all of his stuff, but did you?
It was a spam of like a link. No, it was like a spam of like a link or something. It's okay.
Oh, those guys are the worst.
Helping out, company man here.
Yeah. I might be glitching out.
No, you're good. I can see you.
Oh, good. I think I've got some.
You're good. Please don't glitch out. I'd be very scared here with all these angry commenters.
You'll be fine. Do you see them? Oh, look at those guys. Aren't they happy?
Oh, yeah. Now we can see it. You hear those MVP chants. It looks like Denver couldn't stop every Patriots fan from getting in the game. They tried.
Yeah.
A lot of representation there. Shout out Danny McGinnis and his kid, all the way from Canton.
Shout out the Gannick brothers, transplants. Andy and Dave out there. They got seats in like the 700 section. I don't know that you could be any higher than they were, and they were probably even higher than
worth
that.
a nosebleed for sure. That's worth a nosebleed. 100%.
That's worth a nosebleed. But they live out there. They didn't make the trek, but they got there anyway. Yeah,
we love it.
They got out there too.
How do you think the regardless of whether it's that's the thing is NFC has a pretty big advantage on the Super Bowl in terms of location, travel wise here. You expect Patriots fans to show out for that game, John?
Yeah.
You there?
Oh yeah. Of course they are. That Patriots fans travel. And again, yeah.
Just making sure. I gotta ask the question.
Still got me, Jimmy?
I still got you, but you're not talking much.
Oh no, I know. I'm manning the studio, Jimmy. I got a lot of stuff coming in here.
No, maybe you're on a delay. I think you might be on a little delay. That could be what it is.
All right, I gotta close some windows. You got me okay now?
I would say, yeah. You're on a delay. I would say do less of the uploading of videos over there because I think you're doing too much. But I'm going to say this. I'll say this while John tries to close some windows. As a guy who follows the Patriots, used to cover the team fully. Now I follow them. I'm pleasantly surprised, clearly, but I'm borderline stunned at how quickly the Patriots were able to turn this around. It's borderline unheard of in the NFL, and it does go to show that it really does have to do with your quarterback. And I think Drake Maye, while he hasn't played perfectly over the last few games, he's done what he's needed to do offensively to put the team in a position, and defense has been able to do the rest in the playoffs. Throughout the regular season, though, John, he truly was one of the best quarterbacks on a week-to-week basis. And I think he does actually have the best deep ball in the NFL. And if you don't think he does this year, give it another year or two, and I think it'll be a pretty well-known fact. And so the fact that the Patriots were able to draft that player and he's still at a manageable contract, it doesn't have to end here. You've got a quarterback who can take you to the Super Bowl already on a low salary. This is the fun part. This is the part where you're able to build around that player, build around that quarterback, put some talent around him. Offensively, they could still use another wideout. I know the wideouts this year have played above their means in a lot of ways. I think it's clear they needed another offensive lineman or two. I think that's where they need to spend some money if possible. I know it's a lot harder because those guys aren't typically available. But they're going to be able to hopefully make some moves in the offseason. And that's why I say how exciting it is right now to be a Patriots fan. That's why I say there's no reason to believe that they can't do this again next year. Because they're built to be better next year. They're built that way because they don't have to pay their quarterback $50 million a year like some of these other teams have to do now. Eventually, they'll have to. Eventually, Drake Maye is going to command that max money. But they've got another 2 years of this guy under a manageable contract. Cheapest he'll ever be, clearly. And this is a part where they should be able to put players around him, acquire talent, spend the extra money. Kraft, if you're watching, please don't go the John Henry route. We're tired of that. Spend the money. Let's get some talent around these guys, and let's make this into not such a surprise moving forward. The expectations are set. And when you talk about schedule, John, this team is going to need to be much, much better next year because their schedule is night and day compared to what it was this year. So it's great on the Patriots for taking advantage of this situation and winning the games. They don't pick the schedule. They play the schedule. They win the games. Good on them for doing that. Next year is a different story. I'm not trying to talk about next year yet, but the point I'm trying to make is they're built to contend next year, even with a tougher schedule, because theoretically they can continue to add talent. Some of the homegrown guys are going to continue to get better, build around May.
So
and
that's kind of
the dynasty talk going again.
That's kind of the thing is I don't know if this is like I don't want to say fool's gold.
You think it's a shot in the dark? You think it's just a one and done?
I don't know if it's going to be like, oh, they've arrived fully and they're all the way back. Like you're at worst, you're always going to be in the mix now with having the right quarterback. But you know, there'll be
Aren't
the ups and downs.
Aren't you a playoff team at minimum though?
Yeah, I think so. But of course, but like I feel like they arrived earlier than people expected in the sense of the results as opposed to on the field. Like if you asked any Patriots fan here, and again, this isn't like meant to like rain on the parade, but it's like you're in the Super Bowl. Nothing matters. Who cares? Fix next year, or fix whatever problems you have next year. But heading into the offseason, you're still going to be looking for upgrades all along the offensive line. Upgrades all along the offensive line. Upgrades at multiple receiver positions, upgrades at the tight end position, a pass rusher, more linebackers. Like,
but isn't the time now?
It is, but I mean, you still need a lot. So they need a monster draft and another group of free agents as well to be able to get there. But like, they still have a lot of need, and they need to retain their own. You've got guys like Chason, you've got guys like Marcus Jones that are going to get paid that you got to figure out a way to keep them. There's a crap ton of work for them to even hold the line, and they have a lot to improve on. So again, I don't want to I'm not saying this to go negative on this. This is celebration. They're in here. Nobody thought they'd be here. Who knows if they fully deserve to be here? I say they absolutely did. They answered every challenge that was put in front of them all season long. But is this team fully formed?
You said it. Who cares?
Who cares? Is this team fully formed? No, far from it. You know what I mean? Is like the 2001 team, if you make those comparisons, nobody expected them because nobody knew how good some of those players were. And you might have some of that here where there's certain guys on here who are better than you think or better than their pedigree or better than,
you've got cast-offs. You got a group of guys
that they looked on paper
themselves.
Yeah. So you might have that, but 2001, I don't think everybody knew how good some of those guys were, and it just got better and better, and that's how you won 3 and 4 years. You need a lot here, and again, so I'm going to dig into the portions of this game where everyone's frustrated, because this is a weird game. Like, Patriots fans, we're weird, right? Like, right now we can say nobody expected to be here, and that's fine. But during the game, it was just rage, right?
Totally.
Rage.
This is not a fun game.
They suck. Well, Jermaine's killing us. With McDaniels, what the hell? They can't do anything. Henderson sucks. And everybody was mad because, the expectation level is super high because they're on the precipice here of getting to the Super Bowl. And then immediately it flips back. But like throughout the whole game, it was very apparent. It's like, oh man, if we go down, it's going to be because of this. It's going to be because of that. It's going to be because they don't have this. They don't have the weapons. They don't have the whatever. And that's what it was. It was a frustrating game to watch because you could put a lot on Drake Maye's shoulders. I wish, he could have done more with the opportunities that he had. But I think when you go back and you look at it, when the film guys are going to look at it, they'd be like, oh man, he missed this guy open. This was a bad throw, but you're just going to see guys just covered all friggin' game long. And you're just going to see, and that's just
your team is legit. I mean, Broncos are, listen, let's not forget, Broncos are a number one seed for a reason. And Bo Nix was arguably, after Stroud, he was maybe the worst quarterback left out of the final 8 teams. Maybe 7th, 6th, 7th, or 8th in that order. Obviously, Bo Nix is a significant upgrade over Jarrett Stidham. But the Broncos aren't the number one seed solely because of Bo Nix. They're an unbelievable team. Denver is one of the hardest places to play. And by the way, shout out to this Patriots team for being the first to ever win in Denver in the playoffs. I always get a kick out of those stats. Like a loss 15 years ago has anything to do with this team. It doesn't matter at all. But it does go to show how difficult it is to win in Denver. So I do think, John, your concerns are legitimate. But I don't want to brush past the fact that Denver was the number one seed for most of the year. We all agreed that Denver was the hardest place to play on the road. And the Patriots went in there and they did it. So was it pretty? Absolutely not. Makes you want to pull your hair out? Yes. Drake Maye missed some passes. I don't think he was sharp today, even before the snow.
Nope.
But I also think Denver makes you work extremely hard. I think Patrick Surtain Jr. He's the best corner in the league. So, and the Patriots don't have a plethora of wideouts. They've got guys that will make big plays from time to time. Absolutely. And Matt Collins, great to have him back, but I still get at least give the Patriots and Drake Maye some credit for it. But you are right. And to answer your question from earlier in the show, there are reasons to have some concerns, but to date, they've shut them all down so far. So, if you're a Patriots fan, regardless of who you're playing in the Super Bowl, I think you have to be confident that the Pats are going to go out there and figure out a way to get it done. And they like it ugly. That's, I think, how they want it. So in a Super Bowl situation, there's always something weird that goes down, a safety, just a wild play. I think the Patriots like to muck it up, and I think that's going to suit them well somehow. And they have no problem going on the road and winning in, enemy territory, clearly going into Denver. I think playing out in California, obviously, if the Rams are out there, you might find some more fans in the building for that. And, of course, Seattle's not far either. So there might be a little bit of a road game mentality for them. And they are going to be the underdogs. They're going to have a lot of bulletin board material. But the schedule is a schedule. The quarterbacks that they play against are the quarterbacks they play against. And at the end of the day, you don't really remember the path. Go back and look at all the Super Bowl teams. Think of the Super Bowl teams from the last 25 years. Nobody's saying, yeah, but they beat this team and that team to get there. Nobody gives an F who they played to get there. They beat every single team that they needed to beat in the playoffs. And they're considered the Super Bowl champions, whether you like it or not. And that's just the way it's going to be. They do have one of the best quarterbacks in the league, John, which does fall in line with typical Super Bowl champions. It typically always has to do with a team that has a great quarterback. You're either going to be in it towards the end or you're going to win it.
Yeah, and that's, again, my predictions heading into today were Patriots and Rams.
Yeah, you had expectations for this game. I think that's why you're disappointed. You thought the Pats were going to go hard on offense.
I thought they were going to crack them over time. I think the snow made that impossible, but it might not have happened anyway. Yeah, I didn't think the Pats were going to light it up. I thought they were going to do. I thought it was going to be very much like a Houston game where they were just going to wear them down. Stidham was going to stid, and that was going to be that. But when it came to this game, I was always Stidham's going to stid. I picked my picks for today were I went with the quarterbacks, and that includes the Rams and Stafford. Doesn't look great right now as the Rams are continuing to drive, or the Seahawks.
What's that score?
Second and goal on the 19. They're 7-3 late in the first quarter. Anyway, Mike Vrabel, not enough can be said about him. And again, I'll put it right out there for full disclosure. I was a Ben Johnson guy, and I don't think that would have necessarily been a bad call, but it's impossible to say that Mike Vrabel hasn't been every single thing. Everybody wanted Mike Vrabel here. He is exactly what everybody expected that he was going to be. Comes in year one. And again, what's so funny is Mike Vrabel claimed he was going to do the same exact things that Jarrett Maye said he was going to do: culture and vibes and accountability, except one guy knew what he was doing and the other guy obviously didn't. But to be able to get this much buy-in, to have this many people come in here and, really, get with the program, whatever he had laid out here, and to flip it in 1 year is a really remarkable thing. And honestly, all first-year coaches did an amazing job. Ben Johnson, out in Seattle, McDonald, you have 2 first-year coaches potentially in the Super Bowl. Liam Cohen was phenomenal. It was a great year for a lot of those guys. But Vrabel, I feel like, did it with a lot less, which was really impressive, because this is, again, Pat Lane, who does the Patriots, who does a podcast for Pat's Pulpit here on CLNS Media, tweeted the huge disparity in talent between the Broncos and the Patriots is painfully evident right now, earlier in the first half. And it is. There's teams that are better almost all over the field than these guys. So the fact that the Patriots were able to be better than the sum of their parts was really remarkable. And you have to credit Vrabel a lot with that, and obviously Drake Maye. Here is Vrabel after the game talking to reporters after the Patriots stamped their ticket to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and that's a great thing about Drake, and the ability to extend plays, and if it's not there, gain chunks, and he's done that most of the year. And, again, we'll have to get a lot of things corrected, and we'll have to play our best football game in 2 weeks if we want to finish champions.
That's Vrabel on May. We also have a little bit more here. I'll throw it up there.
8 weeks ago, I can't remember when, but, I saw a different Gonzo. I saw just something went off, and it changed, and maybe the Ravens game or something. I noticed just a different player and a different person, and he's so talented, and I appreciate every one of them, and he can certainly be elite, and your best players have to make those types of plays in championship games.
And there you have it, talking about Drake Maye. And as much as we're going to crap on Maye not meeting the moment to an extent in any of these playoff games, let's be honest. We didn't have a signature Drake Maye game, not even close. You've had a couple signature Drake Maye moments, and there was a couple today. Again, flea flicker there in crappy conditions to Hollins was a really nice play. But
you didn't get
him.
You didn't get like the Tom Brady Snow Bowl game from Drake Maye today. No one's gonna say you got that. Absolutely not.
Yeah. So you didn't get it.
Brady gave you.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. You didn't get that.
Yeah.
And they couldn't even in that fourth quarter, though, John. I mean, they couldn't even. The cleats weren't even allowing them to run. I mean, you saw them slipping all over the place.
I still like it, and if you get again, if you like moments and you like kind of signature moments here, Drake Maye ending it on a bootleg scramble.
I love that.
Was great.
I love that because he worked for that one too. The little stiff arm there to make sure he knew exactly where he needed to get. And John, that's the other aspect of Drake Maye's game that we probably don't talk about enough is his legs. And that's becoming a legitimate lethal part of his arsenal.
Well, I thought that they were going to have to do that against Houston.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to do that throughout. I'm actually surprised. I'd say the one thing I'm a little bit surprised with is facing tough defenses. The Patriots have gone ultra conservative in a lot of what they do and a lot of their play calling, which bums me out a little bit because I thought a lot of people were saying it too throughout the year. We're not seeing the full arsenal here. There's going to be some other stuff that they're going to cook up. And I thought a lot of that was going to involve designed runs with Drake Maye. Drake Maye ended up with very solid rushing stats this year, Jimmy. They were almost all scrambles. Almost nothing is designed.
Right.
And so I like seeing that on a designed boot there. I thought that they would do more. And I think that that's a great equalizer that they're still not fully taking advantage of. And I don't really get it. I understand not wanting to get him hurt. Drake Maye gets hurt, the season's over. Fact. Done. It's over. But we're past that at this point. There is no tomorrow. Like you got to win the now. And they've been able to. And maybe they just did a calculation. Maybe they looked across at the field and said, I just need to do, if we don't do this, we'll win. Belichick used to say that. If you do these three things, I don't care about this guy and this guy and this guy and that guy. We'll win this game. And maybe they're looking at Stidham and thinking, we don't turn the ball over. We take advantage of opportunities. We pressure this guy. They'll make the mistakes. We capitalize. We win. We're done. And so they're not trying stuff. And I know they didn't want to put Drake Maye in harm's way. They didn't run him at all last year because they didn't want him to get killed. But I'm really surprised that this is the equalizer. You've got receivers that are covered all the time, and or guys can rush with 4 and drop a bunch of guys into coverage. Like, take off. You gotta run some more design stuff, and surprised it hasn't happened yet. So it's nice to see him do it on scrambles, but there's got to be another level there.
They did it on scramble, but I think Drake Maye had every intention of running in for the touchdown today too that he ran in for, and I'd like to see that a lot more, John. I think him running in the red zone is going to be the difference between this team being a good red zone offense and a great red zone offense, because it's a smaller field, obviously, the closer you get to the end zone. I think it's a less of a chance of injury closer you get to that goal line. Once you cross, you can't get touched. I like the idea of getting Maye more involved as legs wise, absolutely next season, or obviously they've got one more game left to go here. But I'm also in agreement with you. You can't just get reckless with quarterbacks running, because that's why this league has such a problem right now, is because quarterbacks are too mobile and they're out in the middle of the field. They're in harm's way. They don't know how to fall. They don't know how to get tackled. One little thing can derail a season. We've seen it with Baltimore. We've obviously seen it in Cincinnati. We've seen it with a number of teams. Quarterbacks get too comfortable, or they don't get too comfortable, but they just default too much, I would say, to running. And I think that's the biggest difference with quarterbacks in today's day and the ones from 10, 15, 20 years ago, when they wouldn't default to bailouts as fast. They wouldn't just default to the scramble as much. They would move in the pocket. They would check down. They would go through their reads. And I think they were smarter football players about it. Was just, you needed to understand the defenses more for whatever reason 15 years ago. And so if that's the way the league's going now, where quarterbacks are going to become just more mobile instead of being more in the pocket, then I think Maye has shown that he has that ability. But to your point, they haven't really utilized it. But I loved seeing him running for that touchdown tonight. He didn't try to force it to a receiver. He made the smart play, and he didn't get smashed in the end zone, because once he got there, he can only do so much. So,
yeah, but again, the Maye conversation is real. I see people in the chat saying, like, who cares? I think the Ravens care that their quarterback didn't play well. Well, their quarterback sucked. Trent Dilfer sucked. Like, that's not the point.
We're always going to go back to that. We're always going to go back.
But we have to be real here. We have to understand, like, the Patriots are only here because of Drake Maye. If we're slicing credit cake for this season, Maye gets a 70% slice. But he does, because it's none of this works if he wasn't not just
isn't
good.
That most football teams though, John? You're going to get a big slice of that either credit cake or blame pie. Yeah, you are.
Not really, because you look at last year's team. The Philadelphia Eagles won with a mid quarterback because they were superior everywhere else in the field.
But they had the best.
Tom Brady's Super Bowl, as much as Tom Brady was Tom Brady with the Buccaneers, that defense was ridiculous. They just absolutely tore Kansas City apart. Like, could Brady have won in a shootout with an inferior defense in that game? Yeah, maybe. But
Brady was unreal in that game.
I'm saying, but the defense just overwhelmed Kansas City. So there are other things that Brady joined Brady joined a complete roster when he went to Tampa. The Eagles are a complete roster. Okay. Yeah. They are phenomenal everywhere on the field. The Patriots are not. They're not. So again, this is the MVP conversation coming back up. Is it better to have done it like Stafford did against better competition, or can you look around at who Maye did it with and recognize putting up numbers like this with what you have around you? I don't care who you play, is insane. And yes, Mr. Big Kess, I absolutely love it that he's checking in. Garden report.
He's got snow. OG. He's got snow in the DMV.
OG.
They're probably not handling it the same way we are.
No, they're not. No, they're not. So that stuff is great there. While we have you, we'll let you guys know a couple of things here. If you oh, not this one. Where's my super chats? I'm gonna run through a couple of super chats here, but if you do send super chats, we'll put it up on the screen. We do appreciate
I'm taking Bedard super chats today.
It's not necessary. Our El Presidente, Nick Gelso, this is to buy the team drinks in Santa Clara. Absolutely.
Nick, does that mean I can go?
Fine, Jimmy, you can go. Yeah.
I'm sleeping with Amit.
Rams are going to win, and we're going to feast on that AFL secondary. Maybe. Unit
AFL
285. Congrats, Mike Vrabel and the Patriots. Sad Titans fan. That's okay. That is okay.
Titans fans can jump on here.
Yeah. Jeff, people can't comprehend. QBs don't put up great stats in weather games, at least against elite defenses. He won, though. It's fantasy world. I disagree. I appreciate but we've been pretty clear on this show. We're throwing the second half out. Maye was pretty bad Maye was pretty not great in the first half. I don't think he was as bad as maybe some of the rhetoric, but he looked a little shook. He looked a little sped up, and he was inaccurate. And you need him.
You think the environment got to him? It had to have been the craziest game. It had to have been the wildest game probably of his career. In terms
I think it's a little of everything.
Probably the loudest place he's ever played.
I don't think it's environment, Jimmy. I swear. I really don't. I think a lot of it has to do with just simply it's good defense after good defense after good defense. Early on, you got Campbell just diving at, Bonito's legs there, trying to contain him. You had some times where, someone would come around the edge and get blocked, and then he'd step up into the pocket and somebody on the interior got beat. So I just don't think he knew where it was coming from. I think the Broncos did a good job disguising coverages. They had Surtain kind of playing man, but the rest of them playing up zone, and he didn't know what he was looking at. The first pass he threw of the game was a freaking nightmare. It was basically, that was a pick six written all over it because he just didn't read the coverage correctly. And that's what he's been amazing at, is really being able to diagnose and dissect and be safe with with his throws there. And that stuff was, made you a little scary. Then he was low on a couple of passes. He was high to Mario Douglas. So I think so much of this extends well beyond what happened in the second half with Maye. And I think gives people some concern. So again, if you play the Rams, I don't think you have as much concern in this regard. If you're playing the Seahawks, it's going to be scary again. I still think the Rams are going to win this game, even though drive stalled. They're kicking a field goal. Second quarter could be 10-6 here.
So you think it sounds like you think the Rams are a better matchup for the Patriots. With that being said,
yeah.
Is that what you're telling me?
I don't know, because the Rams are going to score. So the Patriots defense again has given up 2 touchdowns this entire postseason. The Rams are going to be a different story. That offense is going to put up points. So do you trust Drake Maye and the Patriots offense going to put up points in the 30s to be able to keep up in that game? Maybe. It'll be more fun. Okay. It'll be less stressful in the sense of you're not going to be worried that every single first down is going to cost you the game or not the game in that regard.
Right.
But it's the Rams and it's McVay, and McVay is probably still McVay wants his revenge. I mean, I know it was Belichick Belichick absolutely emasculated him in that Super Bowl. Did you see him coming out of there? He couldn't even speak. He was just stuttering. He couldn't believe what just happened to him. So he's gonna want to do something funky here to get back on that. And look, I have full faith. I mean, he's a genius. He is who he is. That's good. The defense vibes will definitely, I wouldn't say come crashing down. I guess I would have to say.
We hear anything about Spillane?
I mean, he's back on the sideline.
Okay.
It was an ankle. It's 2 years.
Okay.
I mean, it's 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah. Okay. Just making sure. He's a huge part of their defense. You got to have all hands on deck. Got to have all hands on deck for this game.
Yeah. So I think you're in good shape there. Having Hollins back was big. He had a couple big,
I have Matt Collins as my dark horse MVP, Super Bowl MVP.
Wow. I like that.
Yeah. Wild.
I like that. People jumping in here still wondering what's going on with the Patriots postgame show. It's an unusual format. We got Jimmy Toscano here. We are, as we said, we're filibustering here, but in these situations with these championship games, it takes forever to get set up on the field because they do the trophy presentation and you can't get out there for 20, 30 minutes. Then the post-game stuff starts. We've got our guys out there in the field, Taylor, Mike, and Greg Bedard all out there, all covering it because that's what they do. Those are their jobs. They will jump on here they will jump on here in just a little bit. And
I'm just hanging. I'm just here to hang so you guys aren't staring at like a blank screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which maybe you'd rather do, but hopefully not.
No. Like I said, we're hanging a little bit here. We want to let you know a couple more sponsor situations here as we get into it. And this one is our pals over at Omaha Steaks. Yeah, that's the good stuff, Jimmy.
This is perfect for the Super Bowl. It's
the big game. Yeah, and it's coming up. Look, Omaha, we're selling you on a couple of different things. Number one, it's new year, everyone kind of starts anew. You're working out. You want to get your protein in there. You want to get friggin' you want to do what Jimmy Toscano did and be able to take your shirt off in public at a Patriots game, which he did.
Yeah, and then I got sick, by the way, so that was real smart. But.
Which he did do. Jimmy, what are you, 100-year-old grandmother? The cold doesn't make you sick, buddy.
I don't know what happened, but me and my buddy Jeremy, shout out Jeremy, we went tops off in the last 2 minutes of that game. We had to.
You had to.
It was for the boys.
But Omaha Steaks is selling you the protein package right now, and I'm totally down with that. But Jimmy and I are going to augment that and say it's a really good thing to get ahead of the big game, which is coming up ahead of the Super Bowl here. So again, you want to start the year easier, delicious premium portion proteins from Omaha Steaks. Get after it, stay satisfied, get energy, fuel that routine. Premium prepackaged protein. We're calling it protein, not steaks. It's protein, Jimmy. It's protein.
Protein's hot right now.
Delivering protein to you. You can taste the difference with Omaha Steaks.
Real
get $35 off at Omaha Steaks when you use the promo code Patriots. I'll tell you guys, thank you guys out there for supporting this. We've done really well with this sponsor because you guys are a bunch of carnivorous madmen. I'd say continue it up here if you can. There's always discounts on the site, and the extra $35 off really makes this a good value if you want to get in on the action here. Yeah, exactly. I defrosted my last two and made them yesterday for my one of my daughters, one of my two twins, Jimmy. Eats the rarest she's 7. Since she's 5, she eats the rarest, bloodiest steaks you've ever seen. She's sent a steak back in a steakhouse because it wasn't bloody enough. Safe? I don't think so. But she does it anyway.
She's never sick, so it must be doing
something
right.
Let Omaha Steaks deliver high-quality protein right to your door. Visit omahasteak.com. Get an extra $35 off with the promo code Patriots at checkout. Once again, OMAHA steaks.com, promo code Patriots. Terms do apply. And yeah, Jimmy, I don't know if it's
the big game. I mean, what's better? Just do it right now. Just have it come to you, and you're gonna have an unbelievable Super Bowl spread. Maybe some sliders.
Yeah.
Love a good slider.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. It's not just steaks. You get a whole food package.
They do chicken.
Here.
They do pork. Yeah. They do a bunch of stuff. They probably, I don't even know, but I bet you they've got something on their website right now. It's probably like a big game sampler. I bet you they do. If they don't, they will tomorrow because it's a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. So yeah, check that out if you can. As for the Patriots, as we said, they hang on here. They win 10-7. They're in they're heading to the Super Bowl. It's going to be Seahawks or Rams. It was not, for those people who like offense, this was not the game for you. Drake Maye threw for 86 yards, which naturally means his receivers didn't do much. Mac Hollins, 51 of those yards. Stefon Diggs had more like a running back, like a backup running back line. 5 receptions, 17 yards total. Doesn't mean he didn't matter, and he did in this game because, oops, did I just disappear?
Nope, I'm still looking at you.
What am I looking at? I hit the wrong button. Cancel it.
I don't know what you're looking at, but unfortunately, we're still looking at you.
Damn it. Stefon Diggs did not have a good game. And again, this is kind of what's happened here. He's gotten erased by some of these better defenses. It is what it is here. it's not entirely his fault. People are like, where's Diggs? He's dealt with some different bracket coverages, people trying to take him out of the game. You know that he's the target. May is always going to look for him as a bit of a safety valve, but his presence this year was immeasurable on the Patriots offense. It went about as good as it could have gone relative to expectations. And everybody on the team has raved about him all season long, Jimmy, like the impact he made and the grown up in the receivers room, which was a huge problem last year because you had guys popping off left and right. And things didn't work out. Here's Diggs, and Diggs has just been all team, all Drake Maye, go, 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 rah, 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 solid citizen this year. And here he is at the podium after today's game.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, considering the circumstances, I'm just really thankful to be a part of this team.
Put him up again.
Part around a group of guys that I got. This
Looks
coaching
like me and you.
And this organization, just mean a lot.
17 receiving yards is a lot in this game.
Just everything, life, injury, shortcomings, lose a lot of people on a daily basis. Life is hard. Just taking in this moment and being thankful for where I'm at right now, So, yeah, thankful.
How bad were the conditions out there for you?
It was just snowing. Ain't nothing we ain't never had to deal with before, but they figured it out. They was running the ball efficiently. Our offense ended with the ball, so I'm so thankful for making plays. Gonzo and the defense, they show up each and every week. Hopefully they get the respect that they deserve. They continue to show up and show that they hold it down for this team. Giving Drake as many opportunities as he can, and he's showing up, making plays. Things aren't pretty, but I told you a long time ago I'd take a ugly win before I take a pretty loss. Resilient, mainly. We went against the top defenses in the league for the past couple weeks. It was easy to count us out during the regular season and give a million excuses as to why not. But here we are, standing firm as a team and as a unit, banding together, finding ways to win. It's hard to find ways to win, especially in the postseason, and they're never going to look good. And we end up 10-7 this week, but the object of the game is to score more than the opponent, so we're just super thankful and can't express enough gratitude.
You mentioned finding ways to win. Your quarterback in those conditions with his legs kind of found ways to get it done.
Yeah, pretty boy. Came in handy. Those legs came in handy. Those long legs came in handy. He was running around, stiff arming guys, making plays at a high level. He was being smart. I think the biggest thing for this game is not turning the ball over. Our defense is going to hold it down. They're going to do their part. So if you don't turn the ball over, we're always in a good spot. I know a couple plays he wanted back. We had a couple plays that we've been working on for the week for the other guys, and I just know that I can count on 10. When in doubt, count on 10.
Because that team grew through the season.
Mm-hmm.
You guys bonded together. How do you see Mike Vrabel?
Stayed the same. He stayed the same, consistent the whole time. When we lost to the Steelers and we lost a couple of those games early, it was easy to count us out and put us in that spot, and nobody believed in us, let alone like us for any matter. I feel like our coach believed in us. He helped us build this identity that he speaks of. He held everybody to the same standard. Something I'm super thankful for, and I realized that it starts at the head. When you hold everybody to the same standard, and you hold everybody to the same requirements each and every day, you hold your teammates accountable. You start looking at your teammates like, self-policing, self-accountability, and you don't want to let your teammates down. So the camaraderie and the team chemistry that he's built from the coaching position, the head coach position, is second to none. Hopefully he wins Coach of the Year, because probably the best coach I ever had.
Wow, big words. How about that? You're muted. Got him.
You got
him.
You got me.
Yeah.
Big stuff from Diggs, and again, super emotional, as you can tell there. Getting to the Super Bowl, here in his first year with the Patriots.
Dude, these bots. Again, how about what's up?
Nothing.
Yeah, the bots are crazy right now. But I love what he said about Vrabel. You didn't really hear much of that last year. There was definitely a disconnect, it seemed like, between the players and the coaches. Not to bring up last year, but even Belichick's final years. I mean, good luck finding a player that would have anything positive to say about Belichick those last year or two. And the fact that Vrabel's been able to come in here and just completely transform the locker room. And it starts at the top. Vrabel is the head of the snake. He, of course, at the end of the day, it's executing on the field. But coaching in football, more than any other sport, is 1,000 times more important, right? And those guys do have a huge effect on these players, not just on the field, but off the field. And the way Vrabel carries himself off the field has translated with this team and has allowed them to band together, have the same goals. I think push one another. And I think Vrabel has really done a good job at being a coach, but also being able to relate to these players, being a former player himself, understanding what maybe they go through on a day-to-day. A lot of people forget these guys are regular people, most of them. Diggs is a superstar, but there's 50, 60 players between the practice squad and everything. A lot of these guys wake up and go to work. Yeah, it's a football game, but they have crazy things going on off the field too. And I think having a player or a coach like Vrabel who can understand on the field stuff as well as off the field stuff makes those guys want to come to work, makes those guys want to win for him and play hard for him and play hard for each other. And that's why ultimately I think the Patriots, I think that's one of the reasons why they are where they are today, is because they've got that team mentality. And that kind of goes back to that 0-1 team as well, John. That was all what that 2001 team was. They all felt disrespected. They all felt like the sum was greater than the parts. And what did they do? They came out announced as a team in that 2001 Super Bowl before the game came out, and everyone started to copy them after that. But I'll never forget the Rams coming out, Torrey Holt coming out with his helmet off.
Yeah, and again,
everyone to see his pretty face, and the Pats just coming out as a team. And I feel like this Patriots team has that same mentality. And Vrabel was on that team, by the way.
Yeah. Sorry, I was responding to something. Yeah, he was. And again, the Vrabel stuff's been the Vrabel stuff's been phenomenal. Like I said, you can't overstate it. I'm not saying he's a rah-rah guy. I think he's a smart guy. I think he's done a really good job. I think, like
I know what you're gonna say. I get it.
No. Like, but
he gives me gym teacher vibes. He's got vibes.
A little bit, but it's
more than that.
There's to a man, he deserves every bit of praise he's getting, 100%. Christian Gonzalez, people were pissed off a little bit. He gave up that big chunk play earlier in this game. Some people, down on Gonzo this year. Does he care? Does he have the fight? He was phenomenal. The stats prove it out all year long, and he makes what was essentially a game-sealing interception there late, plays that ball beautifully, and so he was great in this game. And again, this is one of your best all-around players, and you need him to show up, particularly if you end up going. And again, I know guys like Puka and JSN play all over the field, and the Patriots aren't necessarily playing matchup, but you're going to need D-backs to step up big. You're going to need a big game from Christian Gonzalez in the Super Bowl, regardless of who they play. Here is Gonzo after the game talking about, hey, going to the Super Bowl.
No, probably not. Probably not till tomorrow. Yeah, probably not till tomorrow. We'll see.
What do you say to the fans back home that snowed in, got a chance to watch you guys get down here in Denver? Something that you haven't done before. 0-4 in the playoffs, not anymore.
Yeah, I mean, we just want to give something, the fans, the city, to be proud of, to cheer for. The city is known for winning, so to be able to do this is definitely big for the city, and I'm happy. Yeah.
Christian, you're one of the guys who's been here the last 2 years, a couple 4-win seasons. Like, what's your emotions now to go from that to this?
I mean, I don't really know. I don't think I've fully processed it yet. Came out here, got a big win, a big team win. Everybody was helped to win, offense, defense, special teams. So it was a lot of fun. It was playoff football. The games are always going to be close. It's the two best teams in the AFC, come down to it, and thought it was pretty cool. It started snowing. It was a pretty fitting, Denver home game for AFC Championship. I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, just so proud of the guys, and we'll enjoy this one tonight and move on to whoever wins and be ready for next week or 2 weeks.
Let's kick Gonzo. Let's bring back Jimmy. Let's also say thank you and goodbye to Jimmy. We're going to cast you off here. Jimmy, final thoughts before we head out to the field? Quick ones. Because it's snowing and those guys are cold. I got to get them on there.
Final thought is this. It's good to be back, baby. Shout out to this Patriots team for playing like a true team all year long, shutting everybody up, shutting the haters up one game at a time. They've got one more to go, and I'm riding with this team. I like what I've seen. Drake Maye is due. How about that, John? I'm not concerned about Drake Maye. He's due. That's where I'm going to leave you guys with. Thanks for having me on. Maybe I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe you will, Jimmy. Let's get him moving. As we said, Patriots win this game. They are headed to the Super Bowl to take on the the Chargers or the Rams. The Rams or the Seahawks. That game is going on right now. We are finally set up on the field to get out there and begin our official post-game show with Greg Bedard, Patriots post-game. I know we're going an hour 25, but it officially starts right now. What's going on, everybody? Patriots post-game show. We've got Mike Kadlick and Taylor Kyles. Where are those guys?
There we are.
John Zannis alongside Greg Bedard.
Diggs, he looked electric tonight.
It feels like they're back to a team that can really compete.
But yeah, Drake Maye, this felt like a game where he knew that he could shred this defense, and he played like it.
Greg Bedard in the Greg. I should be in the snow with you, buddy. I'm sorry. Yeah. Mike, check one more time. I'm not hearing Greg great. Got you talking to it? No, Mike's not good. And check on that microphone. We'll drop Greg out for a split second. It's coming in a little bit hollow.
Check.
Bang, he's on. Greg, we're on. We're headed to the Super Bowl. Tickets are booked. Let's make it happen. You were just in the locker room. Anything that stood out to you before we get into the game itself from those guys?
I would say from Milton Williams and Christian Barmore, just sort of a continued sort of disrespect thing. I think I don't know if it was Milton Williams or Christian Barmore coming off the field in the tunnel, said number one offensive line, my ass. Also, I asked Christian Barmore about Minehurst, the first team All-Pro right guard, who he had his way with a couple times, including on a sack. And he basically said, All-Pro don't mean bleep. Look, it was a big question mark going into this game. Who would win in the trenches? I thought going into the game that the Broncos had the edge on both trenches. I would say that the Patriots won both trenches. The pressure that Jarrett Stidham was under definitely affected him, affected the team. Patriots could run the ball a little bit. Drake Maye, yeah, there were sacks, but the pressure rate, I think when you go back and look at it, it wasn't that bad. And they were able to run the ball enough in the second half, went to sort of ground and pound with the weather. So I would say that's the number one thing from the locker room.
Yeah. So what went differently in this game, Greg, than you expected it to go? We know Denver's got the defense. They've got a pass rush. You knew it was going to be difficult for points to come by points. And again, really, if Stidham doesn't make a horrible play there and turn that ball over, I don't know if the Patriots are able to generate anything in the first half. You get into that weather situation in the second half. I don't know what type of game we're talking about here, but just in terms of how the game went, what if anything was different than what you thought it might be coming into it?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, especially if you would have told me before the game that the second half would be played in a sort of almost a blizzard conditions, I would say that Drake Maye would be Mr. Fumbles and kicking the ball around in the second half. And I think, the biggest stat in this game was 0 turnovers for the Patriots, 2 for the Broncos, and a third if you want to toss in the 4th and 1 play. So that the Patriots just, we talked about it, that, if Drake Maye, the formula for this team was for the quarterback to take care of the ball, make a few elite plays. In this game, it was with his legs, where the Broncos let him get out there a bit with his legs. The one touchdown was on a called Drake Maye draw. So I think that Drake Maye's ability to take care of the football this week, I mean, basically I said going into this that if Drake Maye does what he did the first 2 playoff games, they're going to lose. And they probably would have lost if he would have fumbled at some point in time. And so I think that was the biggest thing in this game.
How much, if anything, Greg? Because again, they're there and everybody's riding high on the vibes of the Patriots going to the Super Bowl, which nobody expected. But there is going to be that little bit of Drake Maye panic in the back of people's minds because he hasn't looked like he hasn't gone into God mode, this postseason. Again, we know that the defenses that they've played have been 5-3-2, overall, depending on what rankings you're looking at. And again, if you end up facing the Seahawks, you're going to be playing 4 of the best 5 defenses in the NFL. The lights went out. The lights just went out on Bedard.
Yes.
Backup generator.
Okay.
Again, you've seen him struggle in different ways. There's been some inaccuracies. You had 6 fumbles in 2 games, which you never want to see. And in this game, he doesn't turn it over, but he's not super sharp. Definitely missing some throws. Everything is not exactly as you hoped it would be. With his performance, he didn't go into hero mode. You saw Josh Allen put up 30 against this team a week ago. Drake Maye wasn't able to do that. Different circumstances, different teams, and that's fine. Is there any level? Do you think the Patriots sacrificed? Do you think the Patriots were so concerned with the fumbles and the turnovers in this game against this team, against this turnover, that they tried to be really conservative with it and limit those mistakes, thinking they could win?
Yeah, I do think so. I think that the Patriots went into this game and they were like, look, we're going up against a backup quarterback. We don't expect him to do too much. He might get us once, which he did. But outside of that, he's not going to do very much. He's going to get heated up. He's going to be a little sketchy. All we need to do is take care of the ball and play field position, and we're going to win. And so, of course, every week when the Patriots don't put up 24 points, 30 points, Josh McDaniels sucks. Their play calling is horrible. The head coach is responsible for how a team plays. And I think a lot of this was just this is the formula for us to win this game. And it wasn't fancy or anything like that. To answer your question, I'm not worried about Drake Maye. The Chargers are really good. There's been some elements. Texans are even better. This was Drake Maye's never played in an experience like this before. And, I went back and I looked at his college career. His road games were like nothing outside of Clemson, Death Valley, when he probably had his worst game in college. He had like a 44% completion percentage, turned it over. So, this was Josh has been here. Mike's been here. They understand what the deal is. And they understood how they had to play to win the game. It went even more conservative with the weather in the second half. So I'm not worried about Drake Maye. As long as it's not raining in San Francisco for the Super Bowl, I'm fine.
To flip the script here, if you talk about the Patriots coaches knowing what it took to win, I'm going to say Sean Payton, and this is what I led with when I was talking with Jimmy, and that was like an hour and 20 minutes ago when we started the show. I think Sean Payton's hubris is largely to blame here for the Broncos' loss. And again, you put it on your on BSJ's comments here. Put it out on Twitter. I think they should have taken the points there in that second quarter when they kicked the field when they went for it on 4th and 1. Did he maybe start to get a little bit ahead of himself, thinking like, I can roll this offense with Stidham. We're going to be fine all game long, and we're going to have a lot of opportunities here. I think a little fool's gold here. They got that big completion to Gonzo, and he thought it's going to be like this all game long. And I think that was a gross miscalculation on his part.
I totally agree. I mean, I think that the opportunity to go up 10 at home. With a young quarterback who's never been in this situation before. Now all of a sudden they're down 2 scores. Do they put more on him? Does he start to turn the ball out? We would have kicked the field goal. Go up 10 points. It's game on advantage for the Broncos. Now that's not saying that the Patriots couldn't have won the game. Of course they could have, and it would have changed the game a bit, and they would have played it differently. But also, if you're the home team, you should also know what the weather report is. You should be getting reports like, hey, after halftime, be bad here. Get as many points as you can when you can. And he didn't do it. And I do think that's part of Sean Payton's ego. He's like, I'm going to show everybody how much of a genius I am with a backup quarterback. We're going to go up 14 points, and we're going to put our
ears
foot
back
on these guys' neck. Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And again, it cost. And again, it's all the factors. Normally, Greg, inside the 10, inside the 15. I'm a go for it on 4th and short every single time guy. But this, again, the weather, your quarterback, the fact that the Patriots couldn't get anything going on offense, you have to know all of those things. So that was very surprising there. And then the other huge critical turning point in this game is Stidhaming there. And the level of, I don't know which side of the fence you were on in this, Greg. There's so many opinions that went out this week, but the level of gaslighting that went on in terms of Jarrett Stidham and what he was going to be able to do in this game, it never sank in with me. I don't know if you thought he'd be more competent than this. And again, you could throw out a lot of the second half because I don't think anybody could have performed really well under those conditions. But it was pretty clear after Stidham puked up that ball, gave it to the Patriots there, and they scored their lone touchdown, that Payton lost all confidence in him. And you could see every single time the Patriots applied even the teeniest bit of pressure, he turned into a puddle. I've never seen a professional quarterback two-handed shove a ball twice in a game. He was just a mess here. Like, what did we miss something, or was it just the content machine needed to generate takes all week long regarding Stidham and what type of performance we could expect?
Well, I mean, look, I didn't have much belief in Stidham. I covered him. I watched this film. He's one of those quarterbacks when everything's perfect, he looks pretty good. But you get him heated up and he turns into a disaster. But I will say, I mean, I think the difference was that I was surprised at how much pressure the Patriots were able to get and how successful their blitzes were. And, even when they didn't blitz, they were getting pressure. And Stidham just melts down in those situations. And anybody who's watched him, understands that. And I think the only path for Stidham and the Broncos to win and for Stidham to be successful was if he was really well protected. And he didn't feel uncomfortable. And the Patriots made him feel uncomfortable. I think that was their number one goal. They did it, and you saw the results.
So the other thing that was coming in is the difference between the Broncos and the teams that the Patriots had faced was, yes, they all have elite defenses. The Patriots defense had only given up one score through 2 weeks, Greg, but the Broncos, the big challenge here was going to be their offensive line. Number one PFF graded out offensive line, terrific all across the front. And that was an area where that was going to be, as you said, Stidham is successful if everything is perfect around him, but everything was not perfect around him. How did the Patriots get to him and generate pressure and stuff the run and do all of the things that they did? Because that was supposed to be a potential mismatch in Denver's favor, and it didn't turn out that way.
Pretty much what they've done the last 2 weeks, where they just and I did wonder going into this game, because I like Garrett Bowles, the left tackle, but before this year, I wasn't blown away with him. I thought he was a good player, but not a great player. And now he's first team All Pro. And then you dig into the numbers a little bit more, and you see that, I wondered how much Bo Nix and his legs and the designed sort of boots that they do with him, the designed run play that they do with him. He's also one of the best quarterbacks in the league at avoiding sacks. How much better did Bo Nix's legs make this offensive line look? And then all of a sudden you get Stidham's a little bit mobile, but he's really a pocket passer. And so you put a pocket passer back there behind this offensive line, and I think they went from number one, number two in the league to about, I would say, middle of the pack. So I think that also was a mitigating factor in this.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Other leftover thoughts from this game, Greg, in terms of, again, how things went relative to how you expected that they would go?
Well, I mean, I just think, the Patriots made the crucial plays. The Broncos did not. 4th and 1 play, not only did the Broncos not run the ball, but they passed, and the Patriots were all over it. Nobody blocked Milton Williams. I asked him about it after the game. He was like, nobody blocked me. And he was hauling ass after Jarrett Stidham. There were 3 guys in the flat all over that play. The 3rd and 4 screen pass where, Jarrett Stidham, melted down. Christian Ellis is all over him, forces that play. Leonard Taylor, practice squad guy, gets the field goal, when they were at it. Out Broncos where they got Gonzalez. I think Jalen Hawkins was actually a bigger factor in both plays. I think he got sucked in on the 52-yarder. I think Gonzalez was expecting help over the top. And then on the touchdown, he just had bad eyes. He got lost, and that's his responsibility, and he blew it. So outside of that, the Patriots made the crucial plays. Drake Maye made some plays. The Broncos didn't have a great plan for that. They never do. They're really bad on quarterback scrambles. So that's sort of the storyline for me in this game.
On the Gonzo play, that was over the top help from Hawkins there.
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Yeah, because he looked like he was looking for something and he didn't see it, and then at that point he was in chase.
Yeah, the
mode.
way he was playing that underneath, when he plays a pass like that underneath, he's expecting help over the top, so he can be a little bit aggressive underneath. And Hawkins got caught up with the under route. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking to put the safety in a bind, and if he drives on the crosser, which he did, you throw the over, and that's what happened.
Okay, we still don't know. I mean, again, on repeat viewings, this portion of the segment is going to be completely dated. But at this point, we don't know what's going on, who the Patriots are going to face. But right now, you've got the Rams ahead, 13-10 with the ball late in the second quarter, and again, anybody's ball game here. Do you have a preference in terms of matchup? Which team do the Patriots match up better with the way that they're playing right now?
I mean, I just look at coach and quarterback. Been there. They have a really good defense. I don't trust Sam Darnold. So I'd rather draw the Seahawks, even if they are the tougher defense.
Yeah, what stinks from an entertaining if it's the Seahawks, it's going to be a rock fight like the first three you said. For entertainment purposes, it's going to be another crap game just like these three here. But again, it's Darnold and it's not Stafford. And again, I don't know if you can trust the Patriots to necessarily get going in a shootout with Stafford and McVay and that Rams offense. So it'll be interesting there. Greg, final thoughts before we let you go?
No, not really. I'm ready to go.
Really.
Get warm.
And we apologize.
Patriots, by the way, I heard they are staying here overnight.
Okay. That should be fun. All right. Let us know where the party is. Or actually, don't let Taylor and Amit know where the party is. No, can't do that. Real quick, if you guys don't know, subscribe to the Greg Bedard Patriots podcast, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you go. I'm sure you're getting a ton more coverage this week and next as the Patriots go to the Super Bowl. And of course, when we're out there in San Francisco, we'll be bringing you live podcasts and all that good stuff. So check that out as well. And of course, subscribe to Boston Sports Journal, best Patriots coverage in town. Greg Bedard, Mike Giardi, in addition to, basketball and hockey, the Bruins, Celtics, all of that stuff. But it's only $7 a month or $50 a year. You cannot go wrong. Make sure that you check that out. Greg, we're going to say goodbye to you and toss you out of there. Thank you for joining us, and more from Greg coming up throughout the week, to be sure. Take care. Good luck getting home.
Yeah.
Later. That's that. While we wait for Mike and Taylor to jump in there, we'll remind you guys again, this is the Patriots postgame show on CLNS Media. If you have not already, please subscribe to all of our YouTube channels. That would include Patriots Press Pass. But if you like the Celtics, you can check out Celtics All Access, Bruins Ringside, our main channel. That's where we do our Garden Report postgame live. I've been absent from that lately, but I promise that I'll get back to it in a little bit. We also want to tell you guys at home about our sponsor here at the Garden Report, another one, and that is Ethos. And who at the Garden Report, Patriots postgame, that is Ethos. It is protecting your family. It's life insurance. And everyone gets to that point where you have to start thinking about it. You can get up to $3 million in coverage as little as 10 minutes when you go to ethos.com/all32. Yeah, that's right. This is on Giardi's pod. We're helping him out here. But again, application times may vary, rates may vary. But if you're interested in looking into life insurance, there's no better place to check it out than Ethos here. Make sure you check it out. Once again, protect your family with life insurance from Ethos now by going to ethos.com/all32. As little as 10 minutes, you can get a free quote and up to $3 million in coverage at ethos.com/all32. Once again, that is ethos.com/all32. Applications and rates may vary. We mentioned it earlier, and we wanted to bring it back up here as those guys get going. Christian Gonzalez was talking. We interrupted it to get Greg on the show. Let's hear a little bit from Gonzo while we set up Mike and Taylor out in the field.
No. No. I mean, I just want to make the plays that come my way. As a corner, as a DB, you don't get too many chances. But when your number's called and you're somebody the team looks to make plays. It's big time to be able to do it. And I mean, shout out to Braves and the coaching staff. They get us in the right positions and the right calls and get us ready to go for Sundays.
When the ball's in the air, how did you track the ball through the snow?
I just saw the ball. I didn't even see the snow. I didn't see none of that. At that point, the ball's in the air. I was playing off, so I was able to see it pretty early, which it doesn't really happen too much. Most of the time, I'm always impressed. But I was off and saw the ball, and at that point, it's like I'm playing receiver again. So just find the ball, go up and get it at the highest point, and secure it and bring it down.
Take a final question.
You heard the last one in Milton there, or one of the last ones. Do you feel like the defense is overlooked? What is your opinion on that?
Yeah, I definitely think so. It's been 2 weeks in a row. It was always, whoever the Texans, they talked about the Texans defense, and then this week it was all about the Broncos defense. And like Milt said, I think it's shown we get that chip on our shoulder. It's cool. It's great if you want to count us out because we're just gonna go out there and show what we can do and play team defense and get the ball back to 10 and let him do his thing. Appreciate it.
All right, we're gonna get rid of Gonzo and we're gonna bring in these guys. You hear me now?
You got us?
Howdy.
We sound good? Wi-Fi up? Ready to rock?
You look and sound terrific. I'm going to stop talking because I don't know how
Hell
long
yeah.
we're going to have you. Just go.
Go to the Super Bowl.
Go to the Super Bowl, baby.
How about that shit, huh? Great game overall. Not the type of performance I think you maybe wanted, but they got it done in the end. Drake Maye not great through the air, but made it happen on the ground. A couple key plays there. Christian Gonzalez with his first interception of the season, basically sealing the deal on Jarrett Stidham. Yeah, seriously, great timing. Told him that in the locker room, actually. So, good stuff all around. 10-7. Like I said, not the way we wanted to be doing post game, frankly, either. But got it done and headed to Santa Clara.
Yeah, man. Two themes for this team, I think, are resilience and just finding ways to win. Obviously, this was not a great day from Drake Maye passing the football, but he had a great throw to Matt Collins, obviously, on that flea flicker. And also just being able to use his legs, because it's not going to be a day where passing the ball the entire time was probably going to be a great strategy, not just because of the Broncos defense, but also because of the weather that you can see around us. But Drake Maye's legs absolutely made the difference. And then more than that, we start with Drake Maye because he's Drake Maye. But the defense and special teams in this one, going to actually special teams first with the punting. Ooh. I think Bryce Behringer got a lot of crap during this game. I understand why he had some low kicks. But I think it's also important to remember that they were trying very hard to make sure Marvin Mims was contained. That's one of the best punt returners in the entire NFL. Two of the only times they actually did get Marvin Mims to field a punt, you had Brendan Schooler screeching like a bat out of hell to make the tackle. So I'll have to look back and see, what exactly was up with Bryce Behringer's punting. But hey, man, you didn't give Marvin Mims a chance to change the course of this game. I think that's huge. And then the defense, man, we got to give them so much credit because this is a unit that throughout the season, and look, they still haven't played a top-flight quarterback and top-flight offense. So I think it's fair to still be somewhat critical. But this was a great offensive line that was back to full strength. They got their center back. They had all their starters. And as Craig Bedard pointed out, the defense said number one offensive line can kiss my ass because the Patriots were wrecking things up front. Caleb Chason was doing things. The interior defensive line continues to stand out. Even Elijah Ponder and Anthony Jennings without Harold Landry, those guys both stepped up and made some key plays. And finally, on my rant, I want to give Christian Ellis a shout out, man. I asked him last week, because it seemed like since that Giants game when he had that huge hit on Jackson Dart, he just keeps building positive momentum. And he said, you know what? Earlier in the season, I was playing slow because I was afraid of making mistakes. Since then, I've ditched that mentality, and I've said, you know what? If I make a mistake, I'm just going to come back out there and make a play later. Forcing the fumble on Jarrett Stidham was a huge momentum changer in this game because the Patriots really had trouble driving the length of the field, gave them short field position, punching in 2 plays later.
Tough. Everyone talks about this place being a house of horrors for the Patriots, and they were 0-4 or whatever in the postseason before today. I never really understood why. I thought it's football. You're used to it. No, this place was damn shaking. It was nuts out here. Broncos fans, shout out to you guys. You guys know how to bring a party and pack a punch. It was good stuff.
The paragliders at the beginning scared the shit out of me when they came out of nowhere.
This place is truly unreal. But no, they brought it. It made it tough on the Patriots. And early on, too, you mentioned when we were talking right there how they haven't played world beaters at quarterback. First quarter, Jarrett Stidham was kind of a world beater. And they didn't get after him early. They let him get into a groove, and Sean Payton did a good job of getting him into that groove, gave him a shot play, hit a couple short throws, had a couple runs as well, pulled one on a keeper to get a first down.
Told you we could run, John.
Yeah, so but you mentioned the resilience in the defense, right? They didn't quit. They didn't sit there in this environment, in this stadium, snow comes down, Stidham playing well, and say, oh shit, maybe we're in over our skis here. They kept going, they kept fighting, they kept clawing in and out of it, made Stidham. I don't want to use the term pumpkin like we used last week. That was a little much. Shout out, seriously.
I mean, he had some pretty bad.
He did, but early on, I really want to shout out Jarrett Stidham for kind of, endured here for a little while, but at the end of the day, it wasn't enough. So again, good fight all around, and I'll keep saying it. Pats are going to the Super Bowl again.
And when you talk about that resilience, I mean, Christian Gonzalez is literally the poster child. Beginning of the game, giving up a play that you don't see from him very often. Christian Gonzalez is not an easy guy to beat deep. And Marvin Mims just ran right past him and had that huge play that wound up setting up the Broncos' only score of the game. But then to come back at the end, high point that thing in bad conditions and come down with it. I saw a video where it compared it to Stephon Gilmore in the Super Bowl. Honestly, did look pretty similar, but those kinds of things when you talk about the resilience where they don't get down on themselves, they understand, like Gonzalez said, hey, you need your best players to make big plays. That's exactly what these guys did today.
Rodney Harrison also a couple of late ceiling interceptions, one on Peyton Manning and one on Donovan McNabb during that that 1.0 run of the Patriots Super Bowl titles. And I'm happy for you guys getting a win in Denver. I'm 0 for 3 at playoff games in Denver, and I'm glad I said
thank you for staying home.
I know you're supposed to be here. Damn it!
You know what I did, guys? I just diverted those. I was so confident in you guys handling it, getting the win. I just diverted those tickets to Santa Clara, so I'm all set. I was booked and ready to go. So that stuff's good. So I'll ask you guys same thing. Couple things that I asked Greg because I want your take on it. I thought the biggest story of the game was to an extent the hubris by Sean Payton. I believe that he might have gotten over his skis a little bit. He thought like, okay, I can run this offense.
This week.
I can do this. I'm Sean friggin' Payton, Jarrett Stidham, whatever, man. And and again on that Gonzalez play, and there's some people who think he was looking for help from Hawkins over the top, but regardless, I think that might have given him this false sense of like, we can drive the field on these guys. And then he doesn't take the points there in the second quarter, which a lot of people second guessed before it happened. And that really flipped the script there. And then Jarrett Stidham turned back into Jarrett Stidham, and Sean Payton didn't know what to do anymore. And points were hard to come by. In fact, they never happened again after that point. That was their last real opportunity to get points. Yeah, they missed a couple field goals. One was in the snow. One was a 54-yarder at the end of the half. But this is kind of what I thought, snow aside, this is kind of what I thought the Broncos were going to look like with Stidham back there. Did Payton maybe get a little bit ahead of himself in terms of what he thought he'd be able to pull off today?
I think that part of it was just him trying to show how much confidence he had in his quarterback. Yeah, try to lift him up in the media and do all that, because we had everybody who had ever shaken hands with Sean Payton saying, I don't know, this Jarrett Stidham guy can really sling it. And they were really pumping their tires. I think some of the things he said outside of Stidham, like, oh, yeah, you'll have time to cheer and all that bullshit. Like, that was too much. You didn't need to be doing all that. And Mike Vrabel, I think it was after the game last week, said, when you win, like, you're quiet, or when you lose, you say quiet. When you're even quiet, or something like that. But these guys clearly try to embrace humility to an extent. The defensive tackles can definitely talk. When you play like they do, you're allowed to do that. But I do did feel like it was more of Sean Payton just trying to make sure that Jarrett Stidham had confidence. Whether that worked or not, I have no idea. But you said it, John. I think this is exactly what we expected. We thought Jarrett Stidham would have a couple of shots and make a couple chunk plays. I figured he'd probably have a couple scrambles, but nothing to the extent of like, oh, this is changing the game. We said in the second half, if you are able to get after him like they did in the second quarter, eventually you were going to start seeing him crumble a little bit. And I'll have to see the tape to see if he missed any reads or anything. But second half, obviously, whether playing a big factor, Jarrett Stidham was 5 for 10 for 10 yards and an interception in the second half of this game. Granted, I don't think Drake Maye's stats were much better, but I do think the way that was about what we expected.
Yeah, exactly. And as far as the Sean Payton angle to it, I totally understand him pumping up Jarrett Stidham this week. You're on the doorstep of a Super Bowl. You have a team that was the 1 seed in the conference. You just lost Bo Nix, a huge. So like, you're not going to sit there and say, well, we'll roll it out there and see what happens. He's our backup for a reason. No, you employ confidence in your team. You tell them, hey, we can do this no matter who's under center because the rest of you can do this. And Jarrett's known our system for X amount of years, what have you. Like, all that stuff's well and good. In-game decision-making, obviously it has to be different. You have to be a little bit more careful. Like, for example, that 4th and 1, they don't take the points. They don't go up 10-0. And instead it comes back and bites them. And in the moment, I was like, if they can convert and get a touchdown here and go up 14-0, that is a dagger. And
that's
I'm sure,
I was kind of, I didn't mind them going for it on 4th down.
And I'm sure that's what Sean Payton was thinking. It's like, you know what, we're kind of playing with house money at that point as well. They're up already. If they can go and again punch it in and go up 2 scores, the Patriots I don't know if they would have crumbled, but they would have had a lot more work to do to get back in the game. Ultimately, they obviously don't get it, and then go from there. So, I mean, we talked about it this week. If there's a handful of coaches that you would want to to be leading a quarterback, a backup quarterback in this game, offensive minded wise, it is Sean Payton, someone who is going to have confidence in that player to go try and make those plays. Stidham and the team ultimately just weren't able to get it done.
And also, I think this was the Patriots doing what Mike Vrabel said he wanted to do when he became the head coach: take advantage of bad football. Right. How many missed opportunities did the Broncos receivers have today? Cortland Sutton's dropping passes. Will Jordan Humphrey, honestly, on the replay, Marcus Jones was more on him than I realized. But even still, like Jarrett Stidham gave you a pretty good ball. He should have caught that. So if they didn't capitalize, oh well, boo-hoo. That's why I didn't think the 4th down was that bad. It's early in the game. You still have time to obviously put some drives together later on. But the Broncos didn't capitalize. The Patriots did, and that clearly was the difference in this one. And just the theme of the entire playoff run for the Patriots, I think, is you've had teams that were missing this player, that player, or they're hurt in some way. Well, that sucks because this is football, and we're going to be the healthier team that's going to take advantage.
Yeah, so, and again, Pat Bryant goes out with a hamstring. Tony Franklin wasn't available as well. So, there were some issues there where, just outside of Sutton and little Jordan Humphrey, there weren't a lot of options there. But, again, that shouldn't take away from what the Patriots defense did. Why do you think they were so successful? And, again, you almost have to throw out a lot of the second half because, again, you don't know what happens if the elements don't come into play here. But even still, it looked like they were turning the game. It looked like they had kind of figured things out. And they were able to really disrupt what the Broncos were trying to do. And they were able to put pressure. And again, all week long, we heard about the big X factor here was going to be the Broncos O-line. And it ended up not being the case. And Taylor, you already gave flowers out to the D-line there. How much of it was just those guys just winning battles up front? How much of it was scheme and blitzes and what they sent out there? Like, how did the Patriots kind of, wreck what the Broncos were trying to do offensively in this game?
The blitzes certainly played a factor, and at times, honestly, they were close to big plays and they didn't have them. There were a couple of times that Jalen Hawkins, or one of the safeties, was in the backfield for a run for what would have been a stop, and then there was one that R.J. Harvey turns into an explosive gain, another one that he makes a positive gain that should have been like a 3-yard loss. So they were a bit hit or miss, but really it was the defensive line dominance that really stood out to me overall, because the Broncos really couldn't run that. Early on, I will say there were some missed tackles. There were some pretty big holes early on, and I said at halftime, if you can close those up, I just don't see how the Broncos really score points, because if it becomes a drop-back Stidham game and the weather started to get bad around halftime, you didn't really see how the Broncos were going to be able to come back from this one, and that's exactly what happened. So I really do think a lot of this was the defensive line. Like Christian Barmore mentioned entering the game. Had a couple big wins against Quinn Miners, just like he did when they were here a couple years ago back in 2023. So Kyrus Tonga, when he blew up the center and got into the backfield quickly, like there were several impact plays from the defensive line specifically. So I'm not sure how many were specifically blitzes, but what I think of when I'm thinking of all the big plays from this game is that defensive line and just how dominant they've been this entire playoff run.
Those three guys are absolute monsters on the inside. And again, it works from the inside out, right? Because when they're able to get that pressure, other things are, able to happen on the back end. And you asked Barmore about it after the game, and if you knew a little bit about that Quinn Miners matchup, because the last time they were here, he did have 2 sacks of Russell Wilson in that game, and he kind of chuckled a little bit. It's like, he didn't say he has his number a little bit, but he basically insinuated it. So,
and also the quote where he's like, we say in our line, like, Pro Bowls or all pros don't mean shit.
Yeah, right, exactly. So again, that's where it starts, and it's super football cliche that it starts in the trenches. But today you saw it. That's exactly what allowed this defense to make life hell for Stidham in the second half.
And I think they won. They won that battle, which is one that you didn't necessarily think was a box that they were going to be able to check. Drake Maye, can't go the whole game without talking about him, but it feels to me, and Greg and I talked about this a little bit, because he put the ball on the ground 6 times in the first 2 playoff games. I think seeing what today was going to go like, looking across the field and knowing that the Broncos were being quarterbacked by a backup quarterback, hadn't thrown a pass in the NFL for 2 years, that the premium here on his performance was don't turn it over. And that's what they were really trying to do. And they didn't, but it might have been by taking a very conservative approach in their game plan. Do you think that's what they did, guys? Were they trying to be a little bit safer than normal here? And might that have impacted? This isn't trying to take away from the fact that Maye was not sharp, in the first half here. And again, didn't do much in the second because it was difficult to outside of that first drive. But are you at all concerned that this is the 3rd playoff game where we haven't seen Drake Maye be Drake Maye?
I wouldn't say I was necessarily too concerned. Obviously, there was a point in this game where it was very obvious that both teams. Yeah, I think it was obvious that at some point, both teams knew the other team wanted to run. They wanted to control time of possession, and they just wanted to grind this game out. And credit to the Patriots' offensive line and Ramondre Stevenson for still getting it done when it was very obvious what they were trying to do. Yep. Obviously, when you got into the 4th quarter and it was very obvious that the Patriots were just trying to kill clock, there were some times they got stopped, but the run game was able to get some good movement. I mean, the first drive,
Patriots the Broncos radio call in the bathroom when I went to use the restroom mid-game, tried to jinx Ramondre Stevenson on the last drive. Started to talk about, he hasn't had the best ball security this season. He's fumbled 10 times over the past years. I heard that. I was like, they're trying to put some shit in the air right now. It didn't work.
It did not work. And honestly, no, really, credit to Ramondre, because there were a few times I even heard in the press box, people be like, oh, he's got a fumble, fumble, and he did not fumble. So credit there. When it comes, I can't even say they weren't aggressive because they did a flea flicker,
right,
and they tried the Statue of Liberty or whatever it is. So they definitely tried to get tricky. Flea flicker in this weather, man, I'm not gonna lie. I did not love. I actually thought they did a flea flicker the play before by accident. Yes, exactly.
You're trusting your running back to grab a snap when it's something like that. That's ballsy.
I didn't love it.
And as far as Drake and the aggressiveness and whether they were trying to keep it conservative, I didn't necessarily see that either. But there were definitely times where it almost felt like he was placing the ball a little bit too much and lost out a bit. But again, when it mattered most on that flea flicker drive, he put it right in the breadbasket to Matt Collins, and that was kind of the moral of the story for Drake today. I think where he was not perfect. The offense was far from perfect. Obviously, only scored 10 points, but opportunistic Drake Maye. When it matters most, he got it done. A couple of the runs. He even had that 3rd down run on their final drive where he ended up getting out of bounds, but they were still able to knee it out. So not perfect, but playing his best when it matters most.
Yeah. So as we head into here, and again, by the time this show replays, if anybody's watching it on the second go round, we will have the answer to this question, but we don't have it now. The Seahawks with a late
score in that game.
Late drive and score. The Seahawks went ahead 17-13. The Rams had scored late in that first half to make it 13-10. 17-13 Seahawks. Sam Darnold, 209 points. 209 yards and a touchdown pass through one half. Your MVP right now, Matthew Stafford, 8 of 15, 125. He put the ball on the ground, but it was recovered by the Rams.
Seattle defense is insane.
Seattle defense is real, for sure. But do you have not a preference, but who do you think the Patriots would have it's a better matchup for them in this game?
I think it's the Rams, and I don't even think it's close. This Seahawks defense, I don't think it is. This Seahawks defense terrifies me. I do not think they have, at least obviously haven't really gone deep into my prep, but from what I've seen in their games, I don't see any glaring holes. The Rams, I think you can still pass on. Obviously, their offense is a different thing. Like, I think the Rams have the better offense. The Seahawks have the better defense. But if we're talking about a defensive slugfest in the weaponry that they have in Seattle, because they can run the ball really well, they have the good offensive line, they have JSN, and oh my God, like Christian Gonzalez versus either Puka or JSN, either way, we're eating real good in a couple weeks. But I would definitely rather play the Seahawks because I think that defense is on another level. And Mike,
you mean the Rams?
Storyline.
Yes.
Storylines. I go with, I would probably rather play the Rams just for, what it would turn into, the MVP debate, the Drake Maye, all that good stuff. But Seattle, the defense worries the shit out of me. And you just mentioned Darnold is thrown for 210 yards and a touchdown against a solid Rams defense. I don't know what it is. Maybe I have Jets Sam Darnold still stuck in my head, or even last season's Vikings Sam Darnold, where he, for lack of a better term, shit the bed against this Los Angeles team when they had to play that game in Arizona. I just don't love that offense. But as far as the Rams too, and which team is better, who you'd prefer to play, the Rams have done it before. They've been there before. Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford have already won a Super Bowl. They have young, solid players on that defensive line. Jared Verse can get after the quarterback, so they can make life hell for you. So either way, it's going to be tough. I don't love the matchup, frankly, either way. I think the Patriots are going to have an uphill battle to try and win their seventh Super Bowl. Brady's got 7. The Patriots have 6. I always do that math wrong. The Patriots 7th Super Bowl. It's going to be a tough challenge with either one. But let's go with the Rams. I'd rather play the Rams. Fun storyline and fun game.
I go in the opposite direction. Seahawks defense is terrifying, but so is every defense they've faced so far. I'd rather face Darnold than Stafford and McVay. Let's take one moment of reflection before your battery dies and you guys turn into popsicles. How the friggin' hell did this team reach the Super Bowl, guys?
I mean, man, it's crazy, dude.
I mean, what are we doing here? Like Jimmy and I spent all the good vibes early. But yeah, go ahead.
No, I'll good vibe it here because we walked out. The game ended. I finished the story for SI. I put the finishing here. And then we walk out onto the field. You get out here. You see the Patriots fans in the stands. You go up to the stage. You see Mike Vrabel hoisting that thing and then handing it to Drake Maye.
All this too.
Yeah. And Drake Maye holding that, that Lamar Hunt trophy up. I was like, holy shit, they just did this. Like, and it's hard to believe. It's pretty surreal right now. Like, looking at what this team had been over the last couple of years, 4-13, 2 years in a row. Like, we know the story, but the fact that it's actually here and we're actually, planning a trip out to the West Coast to try and cover this thing, I never would have believed it if you told me, and it's still kind of hard to believe right now.
I'm still kind of processing. I feel like I've said once every 10 minutes, Patriots are going to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Because it really is surreal, but I really do think it's a Mike Vrabel effect and the buy-in that he's gotten from this team, because obviously very different roster than it was last year, but how many players that were on other teams have played some of their best football under Mike Vrabel? So one, just getting the best out of the talent that was already on the roster, but even more than that, bringing in so many veterans that have completely changed the complexion of the locker room, been leaders, been difference makers for them, like depth guys, like Leonard Taylor. Dude, Leonard Taylor was cut by the Jets mid-season. Patriots bring him on. He clearly does all the right things. You could tell the way Vrabel talked about him early. He really liked Leonard Taylor. Yeah. And the guy missed one of the biggest plays in a playoff game and was also really fun to talk to after in the locker room. He's got to talking about even the fact that the Jets didn't believe in him and how sweet this was. So to be able to identify talent, and then in the draft, dude, obviously no draft class is perfect, but you have 6 starters, I think, and almost everybody in that draft class other than Kobe Minor has been a pretty significant role player at one point or another. So it really is just what Mike Vrabel's brought to this team and getting the best out of players, but also knowing how to identify the kind of talent that you need to be a championship roster and actually set them up for success with the bonding and all those kind of things that don't get as much attention and may fly under the radar. But anytime I talk to Morgan Moses, who's one guy I tend to go to in the locker room when I need some insights, first thing he always talks about is the bond, the O-line dinners, the 4 H's and the Y's and all those things. Like that really is. And I asked Mike Vrabel the last question last week, why is that bond and that relationship so important for a championship roster? And he says, I mean, all the things you go through, the adversity, the things that are unpredictable. This game, for example, you're losing against a backup quarterback for a lot of this game, and they didn't flinch. So, I mean, a big rant, but it is the Mike Vrabel.
And that 4 H's thing too, like it sounds super cliche, but no, like some coaches, some teams don't do shit like that. And Kayshon Boutte was the first thing he mentioned in the locker room today when talking about it. It's like, you bond with these guys, you understand who each other are, and it makes you want to work for them and fight for them more. It's easy as a professional athlete who gets paid a shitload of money to play a children's game to just kind of mail it in and pack it in and not really care and get your
Be a
paycheck
mercenary
and go home. And it's hard to blame you for that sometimes. You're making a shitload of money to play football. Win or lose, that check cashes. But to go in to be better and be great, to win championships, there needs to be a buy-in across the board. And I think Mike Vrabel has perfectly, had them do that and exemplified that. And talking about not fully believing this just yet, and, whether this team believed they could do it or not at one point, I heard a conversation between Christian Ellis and Jack Gibbons. They both just looked at each other. We were like, can you believe this is happening?
That's awesome.
Jack Gibbons goes, I literally feel like I'm in a fever dream right now, dude. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Shout out Jack Gibbons also for coming in for Robert Spillane and really not missing a beat.
Yeah. So they can't believe it, but I think they believe in themselves enough to go win another one here. And again, truly surreal. One of the better. We were debating before the show if this is one of the best turnarounds the NFL's ever seen. I don't know the exact numbers, and we'll have to look back on it, but it's got to be up there.
ESPN and NFL Network.
Someone will have it, but it's definitely up there. It's remarkable what this team's been able to do.
It's pretty amazing. So yeah, happy for the long-suffering Patriots fans that had to go an entire 7 years between Super Bowl appearances, guys. I hope you're all okay. But yeah, Patriots are back in the big game. I'm especially happy for Taylor Kyles and Mike Kadlick, Amit, Rich, and everyone who's going to be out there at the Super Bowl covering this team. And it's perfect that you guys froze with these grins on your face, because the screen here was you guys. It froze again, but you were both like this. But
good stuff.
But I'm happy that you guys get to cover one. It's been really great. This will be my second with CLNS. I was happy to go out there with Evan Lazar and Alex Barth the last time. So this is great. We're back in the game. Patriots are back. CLNS is back. We will all be out there. The coverage will not stop. These guys, they're not flying home till Tuesday. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
They're Tuesday. I'm supposed to be going home Monday. We'll see what happens. But I do want to plug, we're going to have a crossover episode tonight. Pat's Beat, Pat's Daily. We're going to react to who the Patriots are playing in the Super Bowl. So make sure you keep it here on Press Pass for that. We're going to head back to the hotel, get ourselves situated, and then
do that.
They'll
be,
and then we're going to burn down the town.
Oh no, my God! Who's the adult? That's Harrison, probably, right?
It's not mine. I was the adult last night. No, okay.
I was
the adult on site.
Yeah.
You tapped out.
I went to bed.
I would like you all to tap out a little early tonight, because we got a lot of work ahead of us. More stuff tonight, as Mike mentioned, the crossover. I don't know if we have a Pats chat. We might have one of those coming up as well, but there'll be more coverage from Denver tomorrow, because at least Taylor's going to be stuck out there. So we'll be bringing you more stuff. I got nothing to do but to sit here and yammer and talk about football and shovel snow. So we'll be hanging out here. We do appreciate you guys for joining us. Thanks to Amit and all of the guys out there, Harrison, in the field, braving the elements and bringing us this stuff. Sorry for some of the technical stuff, but this is what happens when you take the show on the road and you're dealing with blizzards. It is what it is. Thank you to Bailey Kennedy behind the scenes, manning the studio. Patriots are back in the Super Bowl. We are back, baby. We'll see who they play. Tune in for that second half of the game, and we will. And again, you'll have a full preview of the opponent coming up on that crossover a little bit later on, which should be awesome. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you later. Take care.